Okay. Lisa, will you please give us the great introduction of the board while I rename all of our pieces?
Okay, we play cash flow. So this game is the game version of a book that Robert Kiyosaki wrote called The Cash Flow Quadrant, where he talks about the difference between being an employee, a small business owner, a big business owner, or an investor, and how there's differences in there. And so the idea is to like play a game and learn about what your financial strategy is and experiment in what's possible, and kind of breaking out of what we have learned throughout life is the way that we should be. So the game is played as if you're trying to get a paycheck. You're like going around this rat race circle of life, trying to pull in paychecks. So we'll each be assigned a profession, and that profession will have different income and different expenses. So you're going to roll one die and you're going to go around this circle. If you land on a green square, there are deals, and there are smaller deals and there are bigger deals. So smaller deals, the barrier to entry is lower, so it takes less money to get into the deal, but it generally will cash flow lower than a larger deal that's harder to get into potentially, but will cash flow more. Doodads are things that you must pay money for. You buy, but they don't bring you anything other than maybe temporary joy. Then there's blue. Blue is a market card, so that might adjust how things happen in the market. Maybe something that you purchased could go up or down. Maybe something impacts your investment strategy. And then the orange ones are the paydays. So we'll go through what a payday is, but it's your take-home money. So at the end of each pay period, what is it that you're taking home? So anytime you land on or go over a payday, you're going to pay yourself. And it's up to you to remember. We'll call it out each time, but you want to remember to pay yourself, since that's what you're sustaining yourself on in the beginning. And then there are 3 purple sections, and they all have something different. You know, there's an optional ability to donate to charity. They reward you by letting you roll 2 dice instead of 1. So the chances of getting over paydays more frequently, it's likely. There's a downsizing one where you have to pay your expenses and then you have to sit out for a couple turns. And then there's one where you have a baby. And so each profession will have an expense per child. So generally, like people that make more money, their children have a higher expense than people that make less money. All of that may be a little bit confusing, so we will learn as we play. The other thing that we are going to do is you will each have a financial statement. So Kaysen posted a link that we can also put in the chat. It is in the chat. So if you click on the link in the chat, it'll open up the Google Doc that he has on the screen shared right now. So we will go through each one of you, each team, and pick a profession. We'll start there. Does that sound good? So everyone pick a number between 1 and 12. Dylan, a number between 1 and 12.
8.
Ethan and Jared?
Yeah, 3.
Nathan.
11.
Lily, a number between 1 and 12.
2.
Justin.
I got 10.
Sweet. Christian.
7.
Okay. So each of those numbers is associated with a profession. So there is a tab at the end of all of our tabs. So you all see at the bottom of the spreadsheet where you each have tabs that are yours. And the last tab after, or the tab after the names, is a profession setup. So each of those numbers corresponds to a profession. And this will show the breakdown of the expenses. And on the spreadsheet, there are 4 main sections. So on a financial statement, there are 4 main sections. The first one is income. Currently, our income is going to be our salary because we have no other investments. We just have a salary. So we have to trade our time to make that money. as we gain investments, if we earn passive income of any kind, we'll include that in our income statement. We also have expenses. So expenses are calculated for us based on our profession. They're loaded in the expense section. That can increase over the course of the game if we take out bank loans or if we have children. And then on the bottom, there's a balance sheet which shows assets, things that put money in our pocket. And on the right side, liabilities, things that take money out of our pocket. So that would be like a mortgage, something like that. And then below that is the cash ledger. That's just our bank statement. So anytime that we get a payday, you would add it here. Anytime you purchase something, you would subtract it here. And you always want to keep a good accounting of what is happening. So you want to write a good memo so that you can go back and know on each line item what the expense or the income was about. And then at the top of the page, you can see your current cash balance. So that's a good thing to be able to see. And then on the top right, we will have a little review of our salary, our active income, our passive income, which make our total income, our expenses, and then income minus expenses equals our take home, our payday. So the goal of the game is to have our passive income greater than our expenses. Because if our passive income is covering our expenses, we don't have to chase a paycheck. We can do something else. We can keep leveraging our money into bigger things. So it's a little overview.
It may be a lot of information to take in. We're going to take it a piece at a time, but at least now you've at least heard it one time. So Lisa, are we good to just have Mr. Dylan give a first roll?
Yeah.
Cool. Dylan, please give us a first roll. 1 to
3.
6. 3. Fabulous. 1, 2, 3. That puts you on a deal square.
Oh.
Would you like a big deal or a small deal?
Well, last week I played around with the big deal, so I'm going to try out the small deals.
Okay. Small deal. What's in the box? You have the option to purchase a locked filing cabinet at an estate sale. If you buy this cabinet, pay $500 and roll 1 die. If you roll a 1 to 5, you find absolutely nothing. If you roll a 6, you find 10 gold coins. Cha-ching. Add these to your asset sheet. What do you think? And Delaney, this is you too. You can chime in here.
I was going to ask about that. I haven't played the tag team since I was in the WWF, but I wore a mask.
I didn't know he was in the WWF. I never paid attention to that sport.
It is Mexico. It's more like a luchador thing. I didn't look good in spandex. I was the guy who got beat down.
What's your signature move? You always had to have one.
My junk looked good. That's all that matters.
Well, I figure for brevity's sake, what I'd recommend is on the first turn, everybody that's the first person in position has final say on the move, but feel free to weigh in. And then on the next go round, I will be recognizing Delaney and so like the other person each time we go around the board, just so everyone has a chance to be like, I am the final say. And you might learn something about negotiating with a business partner in this. It's pretty interesting.
Oh, yeah.
So where do you roll the dice?
Go on, sorry.
Yeah, so there's online dice random number generators. If you want to use one of those, that's totally cool. If you have like a board game around the house and want to go rummage for it. Or my pal Lisa sent me a really cool 24 karat golden die that I can roll on your behalf. If you're into that.
Golden die.
Yeah, the golden die.
It's not golden.
It's gold.
It's gold.
It's actual gold. It's heavy.
Dylan, what I would say about this one is you're paying $500 for a 1 in 6 chance to get 10 gold pieces.
I think this still sucks.
10 gold pieces would be lovely. 10 gold pieces would be lovely, but I think making that kind of a gamble when your cash flow is not over expenses would represent an irresponsible choice. That's just
Yeah, gambling
that's
is
just
always in
my
favor of the
2
deal.
cents made of copper.
I think you stated what I said, but in a more politically correct tone.
So it's a pass.
Yeah, I'm not taking that. I think Mike agrees with me.
Okay. Does anyone else want to buy this car? Do you want to offer it up to anyone? Do you want to try to sell this thing?
Yeah, Dylan, who wants to pay us $1,000 to pay $500 for a 1 in 6 chance?
Now that's a deal.
Mm-hmm.
Wait a minute. Is that how it works?
In Delaney
Well, if you
land?
could- if you
In Delaney
can't
land.
sell it,
Delaney land.
Is that technically
do
a
it. You can sell
parlay? Would there be a parlay bet right there? I think it would.
I am unfamiliar with the world of gambling in such a way
Dude.
that I have no idea. So with that being said, I'm going to close the Dylan Delaney turn and move on to Ethan and Jerry. Ethan, you give us a roll on this one, and then Jerry will have you roll on the next.
Sounds good.
What you got?
Let's see. Uno.
That is 1 in Spanish. You landed on a deal square. Would you like a big deal or a small deal?
I'm gonna take a small deal.
Okay. Can't find my mouse. Got it. You find a great deal. An older 2-bedroom, 1-bath house, repossessed by the government, is ready to go with government financing and a tenant. Take out a loan if you must, but buy this. Uses yourself or sell to another player. Cost is $35,000. Down payment is $2,000 and the cash flow is $220. What say you?
It's only 2,000.
Yeah.
I'm going to take the deal.
Oh, okay. Can you walk us through what you plan on doing?
I plan on asking my teammate or partner if they would like to go in on this deal with me, because I only have 800.
Oh, yeah. You guys are, you're joined at the hip, so you have 1,600 together.
Oh,
Yeah.
Right now, you have the ability to make final say.
you
but
could
thanks
say
for
I'm a
asking.
dreamer.
So,
Yeah.
Jerry, what do you think of this offer here that's on the table?
Well, we don't have enough money to pay the down payment, right?
It's true, but there is a bank, and banks love giving you money sometimes when it benefits them. So
I mean, that's it.
you can take out bank loans in $1,000 increments. So you would need a $1,000 bank loan to make this work. So on the balance sheet in the liabilities section, there's an area for bank loans. So you can type in $1,000. Bank loans are the charge is 10% each payday. So when you type in that $1,000, it automatically loads up $100 payment in your expense column, which also is reflected in your total expenses and your ultimate payday. So your total expenses went up $100, so your payday went down $100. But wait, there's more. So now you're going to go to your cash ledger and add that $1,000 that the bank just gave you.
I am Vanna Whiting this for the first one. FYI.
Very nice. Very good, Vanna Kaysen. Okay, so
is
now, yes,
is the cash flow split at 50-50? Like each person gets 110?
it's a domestic partnership.
They have joint bank account. They are like conjoined at the hips twins. And right now, I
But
will
with
listen
less
only
press.
to Ethan's final say on whether or not this goes through. But next turn, I will only listen to Jerry. It's a really confusing conjoined twin negotiation.
I have about 3 dozen politically incorrect jokes to make right now, but I'm going to leave it there.
Okay, so now we have enough money to make our down payment. Our down payment is how much money?
2,000.
All right, so we're going to subtract $2,000 to pay to the bank, to the mortgage company to get our mortgage. Okay, now we're going to go back up, and we're going to do the fun part. We're going to put 2-bedroom, 1-bath real estate. And our cash flow is $220. So we took out a bank loan that cost us $100, but our cash flow is $220. So we're positive $120 every payday from this deal, the way it stands. Okay, now we need to add to one house on the balance sheets, on the asset. The down payment was $35,000. Sorry, the down payment was $2,000. The cost is $35,000. So therefore, the mortgage is $33,000. Hi, Kitty. Does that all make sense to anybody? Does that make sense to anybody?
Yes.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's just, navigating the spreadsheet.
Do you want to go? You want to go half and half?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, to clarify,
well, it's
I am
all
only listening
one.
to Ethan's decision. Ethan has full control of the wallet. So is this the move you want to make, Ethan? Or do you want to consult your other twin?
E pluribus unum.
Yeah, I'm cool with this deal, and he's in full control on the next turnaround, right?
Yeah. So, Jerry, does this make sense to you as far as what the deal is?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Great. Does anybody have any questions as to what the deal is? Because now is a great time that if this doesn't make sense, we can do a little drawing, and then you can go, that's probably what it means. Okay, I'm going to assume everybody gets it. If you don't understand, unmute now whenever you get a chance. Okay,
Hey,
so
Mark, welcome.
hello, Mark. I am trusting that Ethan, you said yes. You want to keep this deal? You don't want me to hit undo a bunch of times?
Yeah, I don't want you to do that.
Okay, great. The deal is done. That brings us to Nathan and Glenn. Nathan, you'll be the first one I'm paying attention to on this one.
Hey.
What do you got, sir? Nathan, I think you might be muted in the hardware realm.
Are you fabricating your die?
Oh, he's pointing his finger in the air. He's saying, await my words of wisdom from the mountain on top. He is considering...
Hello? Okay.
Hello.
Now it's working.
There you go. You got it.
Wow,
What do you got, sir?
I got a 1.
A 1. Hey, that's uno in Spanish. That puts you on deal square. Would you like a big deal or a small deal?
Small deal, please.
The deal today is a stock, MYT for you electronics company. Low interest rates lead to favorable share price for this electronics seller. Only you may buy. Today's price is $30. Historic trading range is $10 to $30.
That's pretty high, isn't it?
It is historically high.
Historically high, man. Why can't it be historically low? That'd be.
I mean, if this was Bitcoin, I'd be buying in right now. That's what everyone does, right? All-time high, let's buy.
It's a.
Or the
snazzy-
stock market.
This seems like a lousy deal to
That's
me.
so true.
I ain't buying, man.
All right, pass.
Thank you, but no thanks.
All right. That brings us to Lily and Harry. Nathan, you didn't even consult Glenn. What if Glenn wanted some Mighty for You stock?
No, I was behind my partner hallway.
Okay. He's more the silent partner type. He's like, I trust you, man. Just make it happen.
Oh, good.
I don't have a dice. Can someone roll for me?
Sure. Harry, can you roll for her?
I don't have one either. Could you
All
roll
right,
for us with
die,
the golden
in,
die?
baby.
Golden die.
You got a 5.
5.
Yay.
2, 3, 4, 5. Hey, that's Cinco in Spanish. That puts you on a
I
deal
think you
square.
just pull out any number you wish.
What?
I rolled-
No, we would
I
never.
rolled a 5. Would you like? I mean, I'll set up the golden die cam, I guess. In the meanwhile,
like
do you
last
want a
time?
big deal or a small deal?
Like a small deal.
Small deal?
Okay. Oh, there's a condo for sale. 2-bedroom, 1-bath condo. Excellent 2-1 condo with many extras. Owner wants to relocate for dream job fast. She's moving up. You can too. No cash flow, but a possible capital gains opportunity. Cost is $40,000. Down payment is $1,000, and the cash flow is 0.
Oh, no cash flow. I'll buy it.
You're like, no cash flow. I'm in.
Well, potentially I can sell it for more money.
You may be able to.
Maybe.
Okay, do you know what to do?
Oh, I supposed to put it in myself?
Yeah, do you think everyone gets treated like Ethan?
Okay.
Making me blush.
Lily, part of this game is filling out the ledger for the first time so that we all can look and laugh and, go ahead.
What do I put in the description?
You can put as much as you want. You could say many extras. You could say, I have to do this on my own and I'm not being helped like Ethan was and I'm so mad. You could put it's your description.
Okay.
And the cash flow is 0. Yeah, great. You're doing great. Anonymous Buffalo. That's what's right now on my screen.
2-1 condo, down payment, cost.
She's doing better than me.
40,000.
Totally.
Now, everybody who's not currently typing on the sheet, which is everybody else in the room, look at what she's doing. She's just taking the notes from the card that Lisa drew at the top right, and she's putting those details into her financial document, right? Now, that handles the what the card says. Now we just need to reflect that in the cash ledger, which is just a little bit lower down. You'll want to go to this one first to change that to subtract, and you'll want to pay the down payment, which would be $1,000 there.
Wait, I'm supposed to subtract this?
Yeah, there's a little drop down arrow. There you go. Cool. And you'll see that it just does math to going to the right and then down a line. So then you have a memo on the far right to put 2-1 house or 2-1 condo down payment, for example. That's so if someone's like, why'd you send $1,000? You could go, I bought a condo.
I see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally got it.
That brings us to what's
up, Delaney?
No, just say not a bad place to park some cash if it's under market.
Yeah, who knows? Who knows what's going to happen in the real estate market? Lisa knows.
I know everything.
Lisa knows everything. Always contact Lisa first. Okay.
I know nothing about real estate.
All right. Thank you, Lily and Harry. I assume Harry's on board with this deal because Lily was just like, here we go. This is what's happening.
Yeah, I think so. There's no cash flow, but still, with inflation in this market, it's still a deal.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, debt's a good thing right now. We're good with debt.
Okay, currently that brings us to Justin and Jacob. I will listen to Justin on this go round, but Jacob, feel free to chime in and talk with your partner. Justin, what you got, sir? 1 to 6.
Let's see. I got a 1.
That's ein in German. Would you like a big deal or a small deal?
Small deal.
Oh my goodness. You got a stock today, my friend. MIT for you electronics company. Oh, record interest rates lead to substandard share price for this electronic seller. Today's price, $5. $5. Historic trading range is $10 to $30.
Oh, yeah.
If only I knew that fluctuation price.
Let's see. What do I got? What do I got? 1,600. Oh, yeah.
So what you thinking, sir?
I'll buy 100 of them.
100 of them. Okay. So how much money are you going to end up spending in total?
That is 500.
Right on. Great. So go down to the cash ledger and let's pay that broker who's selling that stock, eh? So that'd be subtract 500. Jacob, you're along for the ride on this one, it sounds like.
I love this deal. So
Jacob loves the deal.
Oh, bam.
Yeah.
You wouldn't buy a single stock more or a single stock less, huh?
Well, I would probably be a little more, but that's because I'm young and dumb.
Oh, okay.
Because you have time for it to recover. That's
Exactly.
What they say. Yeah, you got to get the lingo.
That's a bit more politically correct.
Yeah, you're in it for the long haul.
Yeah.
Have we all
Me
had the
explaining
same
why I'm
financial
incorrect.
advisor? Is that the case?
Yeah, yeah.
Got it.
MSNBC.
So, yeah, Justin did it perfectly. For anybody who's watching, he subtracted $500 and he put a memo of 100 MYT for you stocks. Now, he would just need to go up to his asset sheet and record that he owns 100 shares and he bought them at $5 a share of MYT for you. And this is the part where a more learned person might be like, well, what you really want to do is dollar cost average, Mr. Nathan.
Oh.
You should have bought $1,000 on that turn, and you should have bought $1,000 on this turn. That's what it seems that most people would be discussing in the financial realm. Those goobers, those goofballs. 100
Every
MYT
time-
for you stock. Yep.
Every
Number
time I
of
bring up
shares.
stocks or crypto, my brother says dollar cost average, no matter what.
I literally thought you said socks. I'm like, that's a weird thing.
My
You don't
brother,
wanna buy 100 of those at a time. So
Stonks?
number of
Most
shares,
stocks,
yep,
most stocks.
100, and then $5 a share. I'm just going to throw that in there for you, just so it's all there for you.
stonks. We have stonks.
This is straight up stonks. Okay, great. Thank you, Justin and Jacob. That brings us to Christian and Johnny. Christian, can you give us a number 1 to 6 off a die or a random number generator?
Could you roll for me, please?
I can for you. I should have got the die thing. Okay, I rolled a 2. Just going to have to trust me on that one.
Okay.
That puts you on a Doodad square. That's what you get for asking me to roll for you. You
This is
fool.
exciting.
Fool.
Ayo.
Do you think it's going to be something good?
Nope.
No? What do you mean? It's a new food processor. Woo woo! $200.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
You'll be making lots of food.
You'll make
Does he
lots
have
of
an
like
option
baby
on
food.
that? Does he have to buy that?
Oh, he has to buy that. Yeah. Yeah. Poor
yeah.
choice. Poor choice, sir.
Could be worse.
Together. You should budget with Kaysen.
I was just going to say, this is what happens whenever you don't go to wealthbattle.com/budget and build your first written budgeting overhaul with me.
Right now, you sound like the guy where he bought that from, like infomercials. You're literally like,
what?
sound like
Sounds of your McCormick food processor as it churns
Exactly.
through the food.
oh my god,
That's very good.
nailed it.
That's why you have to put processor, turn it into a business.
So it's not an
There's
asset,
more.
right?
You need a memo that says you bought a food processor
But
on the right
wait.
side.
There's more.
So you're
Throw that
plugging in a
memo in
clip.
there, my friend, or else you'll be audited by the IRS, and that would be a real shame.
Go back 10 turns ago. Yeah, not even anymore.
I don't have anything nice to say about the IRS.
No one has.
In doubt, don't say
Yeah.
that.
Honestly, I
say.
wish they didn't even exist.
What? Why? Just kidding. We don't need to talk about that now. Of course we don't want to.
All right. Now,
Keep
this
touch. So
this brings us to King Delaney. Straight up King Delaney.
bonjour.
Bonjour.
Probably roll a dice, huh?
Preferably while using a movie trailer voice.
Or bask in the glory of.
I can do this.
You
Four.
even have your name in all caps.
Or if we're doing languages, quatre.
I don't know that language, so no. 1, 3, 4. All right. You've passed a payday, Senor Delaney, and you've landed on a deal square. What would you like to do?
Big deal.
Whoa, whoa, whoa,
A
whoa.
big deal. But don't forget to log your
Big
payday, my
man.
guy. Oh, look at him go. He's added $4,900. Wow. I'm going to move it up 1 square because he went too low for my liking.
Oh, whoopsie daisy. Whoopsie. I
Oh, whoa.
made a mistake.
Oh, whoa.
Sound like Captain Kirk.
Captain's log. January 11th. Michael Delaney makes
Lisa,
error
what
of
did
pleasure.
he get?
A house for sale, 3-bedroom, 2-bath. Skilled tradesman kept this 3-2 house in excellent condition. So it commands top dollar rent in older neighborhood. Use this yourself or sell to another player. Cost is $325,000. Down payment is $18,000 and the cash flow is $900.
Now, Delaney, before you say what you want to do, because the first thing you say, this is what we're doing, I'm going to do it no matter what. Will you walk Dylan and everyone else through like what your thought process is, rather than just saying, this is what I'm going to do? Kind of walk through the numbers.
Absolutely. So looking at this, all right, we got a 3-2, good condition, top dollar. All right. So costs a lot of money, down payments, 18 G's, only cash flow is 900. However, this is early in the game, right? And so my strategy oftentimes is try to, get some action early so that, later down the line, if you get one of them fancy dancy cards, we got a buyer on the market that wants to pay top dollar for a multifamily, yada, yada, yada. You're ready to rock and roll with that, thing. It cash flows positive, 900. So it's kind of a no-brainer to me. We're going to need $5,000 from the Bankarooski. So let's see if I can remember how to do this. 3-2 down payment is 18,000 quid. Cost is 307. I think I'm doing something right.
Let me get into the browser. Hate that when it happened.
Can you see the screen just while your browser's reloading, Dylan?
Yes.
Okay.
No, it's for some reason it's locked on Zoom, and I can't click back into the browser or do anything with it or for a while.
Alt-Tab on your keyboard at the same time. Alt-Tab. That switches between active windows.
Yeah, so still nothing. I can't even click on the start button. I can click on the window button and get the start menu up. That's it. And if I click on it, it throws the menu off.
But for now, you can see the screen?
Yes.
Okay, if we get to a point where you need to interface with the thing, I will interface for you, or Delaney will, okay?
And by the way, I approve that deal. Nobody asked, but I should have been consulted since I'm part of that domestic relationship.
Along with the
Happens
ride.
all the time. Just ask for forgiveness, Delaney.
I'll make it up in bed, bud. All right.
I don't want that.
So straight out, he wants Delaney. So how are you going to make it up to him now? Because you've hurt him.
Oh.
You know something? A relationship is difficult. When you're trying to make someone happy, the more you squeeze, the more it goes through your hands like sand. And if you don't do it organically, it's just not going to happen. So let's not force it. We're going to let it marinate, and then later we'll check the flavor.
I'm thinking about filing papers.
Well done, Dylan. Well done.
All right. I feel
Dylan,
something's all right.
Totally turn 2, guys.
Now, Dylan, do you? Yeah, I mean, it only took us. It's the first turn of turn 2. Now, Dylan, do you think it's a good deal mathematically?
Yes, I think it's better to have something long term than nothing. The deal looks like it could be in the long term future strategically. It looks like it could be an assistance at some point.
Well, even short term, your cash flow went up, right?
That's true as well.
Yeah. So next payday, you make a little extra bank for your time as whatever your profession is. Profession number 8. Let's see. I think that was airline pilot. No, you're a doctor.
Doctor, yeah.
You're a doctor.
And like I said, it puts a round in the chamber in case you get a good card later in the game. For those of you who don't speak Boston, that's
card.
ARD is what he meant to say for us English speakers.
You sound like a chainsaw just started.
Cool.
Did I fill that out correctly in the assets and liabilities?
The only thing I would say is a 3-2 house, because you may need on the income side, just so you know what it is. Because you could have a 3-2 condo buyer. Right. A heezy. Okay. All right. He's even overwriting what I wrote as heezy. All right. Oh no, now we got lower thirds going from Ethan. Oh dear. Wicked awesome. He's from Mass. All right. Yeah, that looks good, Delaney.
I think the cost is supposed to be $325.
We got ourselves a referee on the scene. 325.
You know what, Lily? You're getting $100. Bam. Correcting Casey.
Is that possible?
Do that more. Good job.
Flag on the play. Hey, he's going to create his cadre of little spies to keep an eye on us.
Are you the government?
No, wait, go back.
Oh, go back?
Yeah, the mortgage is $307. The cost is $325. So you change both.
$200.
Delaney, did you change both? Did
I got $100.
Yep, you get another $100.
Oh man.
Take that one from me.
There you go. Thank you, Lily. You should just be the auditor. That brings us to Jerry, who is now driving the Jerry Ethan monstrosity.
A born auditor. Or maybe an auditor has been born.
What you got, Jerry? I'm assuming you're rolling on your phone.
I rolled a 4.
A 4?
Cool.
Great. That puts you on another deal square. Would you like a big deal or a small deal or to consult your partner?
I would like a big deal.
Oh, yes, you would. Today, my friend, a fourplex is for sale. Fourplex next to a new highway is for sale. Its owner occupant is moving to a quieter area. Price for quick sale. Cost is $290,000. Down payment is $15,000, and the cash flow is $800.
I think we should get it.
Okay, so you need how much money?
I need $14,400.
Yes. And the bank will give you loans in $1,000 increments. So you actually need $15,000. The cost to you is 10%. So for taking out $15,000, it's going to cost you 10%. So 10% is $1,500. Your cash flow is $800. So you have to be able to cover $700 per payday.
And cash flow currently is $920, Lisa. That would take them down to minus $580.
So you can do it. You have the money to do it, but your payday will be really small. So every time you pass over a payday, you're going to be taking home $200-ish. I don't remember exactly. Right?
What do you think, Ethan?
Yeah, it's cutting it slim, but
so you'll be accumulating less each payday. It's only $220 each payday. And you can do that in the hopes that somebody will buy one of your properties and you can make money off of it.
Mm-hmm.
Or you could try to buy part of this property and have someone else buy part of the property. Like you can start looking at how do you structure deals if you want to do part of the deal, but not the whole deal.
Mm-hmm.
Or sell the whole deal.
Yeah.
there's not a career change space to land on like the game of life, is there?
So far, no. But which direction would it go, do you think? I don't know.
It's true. I don't know. I think I like the strategy of, just kind of getting some good cash flows on our financial statement early on in the game.
Okay, that works.
It is cutting us tight on payday, but we already have 2 properties we could sell in the future.
Right.
I don't know, I've never really finished. Played this one time, and I don't think we really finished. So I don't really know how the end game looks, so to speak.
So you have these properties now, and a market card or a deal card could come up, in which there's a buyer, and you could sell one of these and cash in, right? Get a big chunk of money.
So there's like the buyer is in like the card itself. It's not like from a player that we're playing with.
Yeah. So the game is designed so there might be a buyer in the cards. However, if you don't want to wait for a buyer to show up in the cards, you could try to find a buyer in players. So at any point in the future, if you want to sell part or all of your deal, you could look for someone in the game that wants to buy it, like make them an offer.
Okay.
Do you want to maybe get half of this plex?
And try to outsource the other half to another player?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm open to that idea.
All right, so we'll do that.
Two to tango, though. Is someone else going to buy into that deal?
For $7,500.
Or something, right? Maybe they put in 8,000 and you put in 6,000 and you get half the cash flow or whatever you want it to be. Ooh.
Maybe.
Or you could just keep it, the whole thing.
Also, if y'all want to have a running commentary in chat, we could totally have that as well for those that are not currently negotiating.
Can we have some of that suspense music playing?
Bum, 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 bum. Yeah, man, I'm willing to just, roll the dice and go for it.
Do we have to sell it to another player, or split it with it?
No, it can happen in like the cards. When, if a card comes up, we could sell it.
Okay, so I think we're fine then.
Yeah, if you ever wanted to sell it, instead of like trying to figure it out now, if you ever wanted to sell in the future, you could try to figure it out then, since it's manageable now. That makes sense.
Alrighty, I think we're good.
All right.
So Nathan just asked in chat. So cool. We got that. It's added to your ledger on Ethan and Jerry. Glenn, if you'll go ahead and give us a roll 1 to 6.
Please roll.
X275.
We'd like the golden die.
You want the golden die?
Oh, yes.
Okay, I will give you the golden die, and it is a 3. Putting you on a charity space, which gives you the option to do one of 2 things. Lisa, will you walk them through that?
You can choose, if you would like, to donate 10% of your total income. If you do that, they will allow you 3 turns of using 2 die. The reason that they're offering that is they're saying, well, hey, if you're kind and you give to charity, we'll reward you by getting you around the rat race faster and bringing home more take-home paydays. Or you can choose to just not play.
Can you pass it on to someone else?
I'm thinking take the dice roll on the next 2 turns.
Okay, so
What do you think, Nathan?
I agree. It's cheap.
Do you know what your total income is?
I'm not sure if we're still on looking at my page.
When you look
Do I
at
have
the
to
screen,
go back to
you can look at the screen.
You could pull up your own, or you could look at Kaysen. He is on the ball.
Sometimes.
At the moment.
okay, so that big deal doesn't have anything to do with us. We got to cash flow balance right now, $1,400. Is that true?
Yes.
That is correct. Yeah, $1,400 in the bank. The big deal was the last turn, so not applying to y'all.
Okay.
Your total income is $2,000, of which 10% you knock off a zero. You get $200 to donate to charity if you want to be able to roll 1 or 2 die for the next 3 turns.
I like that deal.
Cool. Glenn, you're the final decider there, so is that good with you?
Yep.
Cool. I saw Nathan do a thumbs up as well. Cool. So Nathan or Glenn, head over to your cash ledger and just do subtract 200, memo charity. I'll check on you in a second. I'm just going to kind of keep the game moving in the meanwhiles. That brings us to Harry.
All right, great. Could you roll for me with the golden die?
I can. Man, I really should have set up the golden die cam, huh? That would be 2 for you, which will bring you to... Where are you at? Lily and Harry. There you are. You're passing your first payday. What a party. And you're landing on a deal square. So let's get your payday squared away, which is pretty fun to do. I'll leave this over to Lily, who's the natural auditor of this game. You find your payday number, which is at cell G19. Go on down to your cash ledger and add a payday as the next line item. So add 1,600 in this case on the Lily Harry sheet. Okala-dokali. And then did you want a big deal or a small deal, Harry?
Small deal. What do you think, Lily? A small deal?
Yeah, I think small deal is good.
Fabulous.
Well, today, your friend needs cash quick. A friend has urgent need for money. We'll send you 10 gold coins well below going rate. Cost is $3,000. So for $3,000, you get 10 gold coins.
What does it mean by well below going rate?
Well, we don't know, but if we take this to be true, then it's below the spot price. So we're assuming that at some point in the future, you could sell it for more than what you're buying for, but we don't know what the value is at the moment.
Harry, what do you think?
Lily. I don't. I think maybe we should pass. I don't really see any cash flow from that, from holding the coins.
But if you buy it, the price could be higher when we sell it.
It's a speculation play. It's not about cash flow.
All right.
Yeah, stocks, pretty much. Commodity.
Okay. So I don't.
It's your call.
I don't know how much a gold coin is worth.
Maybe someone in this market of players could tell you. Maybe they want to buy 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 of those gold coins from you immediately for an immediate cash play.
Does anybody want to buy?
Any
Hey, what's that sound?
Lisa.
That was not me.
Something right
Buddy.
Money.
Oh,
I really don't know. Really.
now. Who did that?
Who's playing this?
It was me. It was me.
I like gold. Kason likes gold. It's so pretty.
I'm only wearing copper today.
Does anybody want to buy half? 5 golds?
Need to know how big a coin it is.
Yes.
Like a dinner plate.
Hold on.
Not worth as a Bitcoin.
$3,000 for 10 coins, right? That means each coin's what, $300 each?
No, it doesn't mean that. A gold coin could be anything from an ounce to whatever.
3 ounces.
What if it's like a dinner plate?
Is it a $1 gold coin?
Is it a golden flake?
So as Lord of the other half of, like, Lisa has the sheet, I have the imagination, I guess. All of the gold coins in this entire universe are Mario coin sized. They're as big as your head, and they are not allowed to be minted in any other shape, any other size. They cannot be. Yeah. So those are the gold coins we're talking about. They're all the same size,
and they bleed out of bricks.
They give you 100 points each.
They give you 100 points. If you collect 100 of them, you get a whole new life. So that's exciting.
Oh, wow. 100
so
gold
that
coins.
under advisement.
Extra life.
Lily and Harry, do do you have a decision on if you want to purchase them?
Well, for me,
Either way.
if nobody wants to buy half, then I would pass on it. But it's Harry's decision.
Well, Mademoiselle, I would love to buy half. If it's on the table, done.
So Harry.
Okay. Let's do.
All right.
Yeah.
We do
Yeah.
half.
What do you think, Lily? Yeah. Half.
Yep, we do half.
At $1,500, 5 gold coins each.
Okay, Lily, go to in your ledger. I think you need to add, let's see, 1,500 from me, right? Is that how this works, people?
That is, one way to make
No,
it.
I think it's supposed to subtract because I'm buying it.
You could buy direct, Delaney.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're both standing in line.
Just Venmo her.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that puts Delaney and Dylan in debt. They are negative cash flow, negative cash balance, $1,200.
I didn't realize I didn't have the money to do this.
Uh-oh. So does that mean you're packing out?
In my I made an irresponsible
one
decision.
gold coin.
No, I'm out.
But I mean, I
Sorry.
wouldn't go into bank debt without consulting my partner after they explicitly said they wish they had been consulted on the last deal.
Oh man. Who's gonna bail out Delaney?
Be me.
He's betting out.
Why'd I do that?
I only got 1,200 for me. I can't do that. Maybe I could buy one coin, but
Yeah, sell one coin, Delaney.
if you could do one coin, I'm interested.
The most G move would be if Delaney was like, yeah, I'll buy half, and then he was direct messaging Nathan to buy like 5 of them.
Buy them now.
I got this deal.
Okay, so
I
you're
literally
only
just
buying
did-
one?
No, I was just going to back out of the deal and make it simple.
Delaney's back out of the
Okay.
deal. Okay, anybody else want to
What?
jump in on this before we move on? Because I'm about
Wait,
to
but you
put the
could do a
kibosh
bank
on.
loan, right? What's your status there?
Yeah, I'm just going to sit it out.
Okay.
I was
However-
endeavoring.
I'm not going to back out without offering this one piece of advice. Haven't played this game much. There has never been a single time I've ever seen in this game where buying gold was a bad idea. Lisa, didn't we try to find a card that was like a bad one? And
Since I'm the master of the cards, I'm sure if you asked me to find something that would have been in my favor, I would not have found it. Yeah, the gold works out. You have to wait for it. But I think in life, you should all buy gold rings.
I'm allergic to gold, unfortunately.
Lisa has the hookup on that, by the way.
I can
you
buy
wanna
it.
buy
I just
some.
can't wear it.
Why not?
Well, I guess
I'm
I would
allergic.
buy it.
Wait, you're allergic to gold?
Yes, I actually bought a 10-carat gold necklace and I put a rose gold thing on it, and it just broke out all along.
I bet it wasn't the gold.
Yeah. Gold is like super hypoallergenic.
It was probably the impurity in the 10 carat. You need 24 carat, bro.
Maybe I have a nickel impurity. That's all.
Yeah, you need 24 carat. We'll hook you up.
yeah, rose gold has an
Money.
additional.
I'll talk later.
So, what do you think, Harry? Do you want to get it? I would get it, but it's up to you.
Harry?
Nobody else
Harry?
wants a coin, 2 coins, 3 coins, 5 coins.
Glenn, you interested?
Well, my payday is
Afford
like
it,
$200
but we need
and one
we
coin
need
is 3.
financing.
We got some. We got some cash.
You guys could buy like 1 or 2 coins from them if they're still willing to sell them at $300 a pop.
How about half? We got half, $1,200. We could buy 2 for $600.
That's all we have in the bank is $1,200.
Right. I mean, there are loans, but we don't have much payday or cash flow for that matter.
What if hyperinflation happened like in the next 10 minutes?
And then we have 2 gold coins. We have like we're rich. We're Mario.
You'd basically be Bitcoin bajillionaires.
Yeah.
Nathan and Glenn, just to point it out, on your position, you're two die away from a payday, and you're on the charity track, so you cannot roll less than a 2. I just thought I'd point that out.
We can get.
You're very
banked.
confident. In other words, in real life, you're very confident that your salary's not going away tomorrow and payday's tomorrow.
Yeah, so I guess we can get 3
So we want 4 of them, right? Or
Yeah,
3 of them.
we can
No.
only afford 4, but we can also
Okay.
take out a loan for more if they're willing to do that. But that's what we're willing
Lily,
to
jack the price.
part
Now's your
with.
chance.
Wait a minute.
All right,
Hey.
it's
$3.25 a pop. Make immediate money.
Now we're talking here.
That's a little
Not gonna
finder's
put
fee.
salt
That's
on
not
wood.
unreasonable.
I mean, I swindled someone for a really good deal for $50, so I don't know.
You know? All right. So what's the deal on the table? It's all down to Harry. Harry is the decider here.
I would like 4
Some
gold coins,
network
please.
issues there. What am I deciding?
Would you like to purchase these gold coins and then sell some of them to Nathan and Glenn, who have sort of made an offer?
Absolutely. Let's do it if Lily's okay with that.
yeah, I'm okay with it.
Cool. And then Nathan and Glenn, how many did you guys want to buy?
Just so we don't have to go through the financing, let's just get 3.
Sounds deal. 3 is a good number.
3 at 300.
It's what they're offering if they're offering 300.
Oh, were they? Then let's get 4.
4 at 300. Lily and Harry agreed.
Total of $1,200.
Agreed.
1,200.
I hear
Lily and
one
Harry?
yes.
Yeah, he agreed, so I'm okay.
All right.
Okay, cool.
That's deal. I'll put it in.
Great.
I think I got it. Check my work.
Oh, did you?
I think so. Check it.
Did you do the correct? Oh yeah, you did that one. Good. I'm going to put it down at the cash ledger there.
Okay. I'm watching.
Subtract.
Okay, I see. You have it under cash flow. I'm actually going to move that down to precious metals.
I didn't even see it.
Which is under the asset sheet. I have moved it for you, Mr. Glenn. It is down under
yes.
the asset sheet because income
That
and
is-
expense
Oh,
statement
I
is
see
a
it now.
statement of
Okay.
cash flow.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
see,
it's a
yeah.
statement
I
of
missed that.
currency, while assets and liabilities can have things outside of currency inside of it. Okay?
And the amount you paid will just be a memo in the cash ledger.
Lily and Harry. Yep. It would be 6 gold coins. They bought 4 of them.
Oh, they buy 4?
They
still
intend
raised
to
the
buy 4.
price.
Are you selling 4? That's really the question.
Oh, it's Harry's choice, so I.
Harry, you good selling 4? If we don't hear back from Harry shortly, I think he may have disconnected.
He said he was having
That's
internet
okay.
issues. Seems like it.
Yeah, I think he may have stepped out to the restroom or something. Because he's like, sweet, the turn's over. I can go.
Yeah.
Where do I
Okay,
put
great.
this?
Yeah, so bought 6. Yep, and then it would be under precious metals, so it'd be 6 gold coins. We only want to write on the things that are yellow on the sheet. Those are the things that won't break.
6 gold.
Yeah, great. Cool. That brings us to Justin and Jacob. Jacob, are you with us still? I think he may have ducked. I know it was near the time for him.
I have one more thing. I don't know if my thing worked because I still have $1,200. Did I do it right?
You did it right. I'm going to add 1 penny because it doesn't reflect. The number 0 is not indexable in the formula I've used, and I'm not smart enough with spreadsheets to make it do it.
Okay.
So, yeah. I just added
Thanks.
a penny into that.
Makes sense.
It's a workaround.
Lily and Harry is done. Justin and Jacob.
Yep.
You're up
So that
next.
brings us to Justin and Jacob. I think Jacob is now MIA. I think he said he wasn't going to stay on very long. So that would bring us to Justin.
Yes.
It is your turn to roll, sir.
I have rolled a 2.
A 2. That puts you on a deal square. Would you like a big deal or little deal?
I will take a big deal.
Ooh.
Big deal. Also, Jerry is currently messaging the chat asking if Ethan wants to buy a coin. There is literally a market starting in the Zoom chat now for gold coins. Secondary market has begun. Trading is open.
Okay, Justin, big deal. 8plex for sale. Reinvesting owner offers 8plex for sale at reasonable price. Financing already in place. All it needs is your down payment. Cost is $320,000. Down payment is $40,000. Cash flow is $1,700.
Sounds nice, but that's gonna kill me if I have to take out that much loans.
Yeah, you can't do the whole thing.
Is there any way I can split this like 4 ways?
I created a handy-dandy bird's eye view just to take a look at everyone's dollars and whatnot.
Nice.
It looks like player number 6 and player number 1 have sufficient cash flow to go in on this deal with you. Player number 1 is positioned a bit stronger, so that'd be Dylan and Delaney.
Well, we
To which I would ask Dylan over Delaney because Delaney's been monopolizing that time, huh?
What did you say, pal? I missed that one.
Oh, I didn't say anything, sir.
I'm thinking about maybe we need to go on Dr. Phil.
Yeah, cash me outside. How about that?
No, that was on the Maury show. So, Justin, what do you intend to do, sir?
Was it?
Was it?
Totally
Was
on
it
the
not?
Phil
I
show.
thought
Totally
Cash Flow.
Dr. Phil. And Dr. Phil was like, "Excuse me, young lady."
He's like beside himself.
Excuse me, you need to listen to your mother, young lady. You need some more.
Oh my God, she's really on the. I just figured that was not on the Dr. Phil show. Wow.
Does anybody still
That
watch
was not a
Maury
Springer
Povich?
special.
No.
So back to the issue at hand. Justin, what would you like to do?
Well, I'll try and split it up if I can.
Who would you like to approach?
Let's see. Anyone interested in it?
I think we are in no position of going into this deal.
Dylan is in a position to make a play for it. Christian
Go
and
in.
Johnny are in a position to make a play
Oh,
for
this
it.
chat. Okay.
We need to take a big loan. If you
It
want
would
to
be a
take-
sizable loan for you, Christian and Johnny. Yes.
Yeah. That's 40K, right? And then if you split it in 2, it's like 20K. And we have a difference of 14,800. I know 15,800.
Wait, are you able to split it to 4? Because I would like in.
Yeah, I would like a 4-way split. It's fine.
Yep.
Yeah.
Four-way split.
Okay, who's calling
No.
for 4-way split? I heard Lily.
Yeah.
Who else was in?
I say floor. We have a 4-way split.
Justin, did you say you're down with a 4-way split?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So who else wanted to jump in on the deal? What are you selling shares for?
Harry having some issues.
Justin, are you there?
Yeah.
I think I have 1,000 right now. Cash balance.
So Justin, it's $40,000. Do you want to do even $10,000 for each person, and you split the cash flow 4 ways evenly, or something different?
Dang, it wouldn't be much of a gain actually.
Yeah. I feel like it's substantial.
Yeah. That does sound kind of stupid. All right, I'll pass it up.
You're gonna pass it up? Okay.
Yep.
Then we will stop investigating.
Yeah, it's good to entertain.
It's not the right deal for you right now. Maybe later. Okay. That brings us to Christian and Johnny.
You guys hear me?
Johnny's turn. Yes,
Can you
we
guys?
do.
Okay, sweet. Let's see.
What do you got there, Johnny? I think it's
So I rolled a 3.
A 3. Fabulous. That puts you on a deal square. Would you like a big deal or a small deal?
Let's do a big deal.
Big deal.
Limited partner wanted. Successful pizza chain expanding into production of frozen pizzas for grocery stores. Owner needs capital. Owner needs capital for equipment. Cost is $20,000. Down payment is $20,000, and the cash flow is $1,200.
Oh wow! Oh
Wow, that's very good.
Zero mortgage.
And there's pizza.
Boom.
True.
20,000. So would we have to take out a loan on this?
Sure would.
I'll go in half if you want.
So you guys have $4,200 in the bank, and you need $20,000. So you'd have to take out a $16,000 loan if you wanted to do that yourselves. A $16,000 loan would cost you $1,600, and the property cash flow is $1,200. So you would be down. You would only have to cover $400 on that loan for a while, and you have a pretty decent payday. So you could easily do this yourself if you wanted to.
Okay, let's go for it.
Let's go for it, man.
Okay,
Cool.
so the bank loan is $16,000. So
There's no mortgage.
yeah,
Johnny, are you able to update the sheet?
Yeah.
Cool. 16,000.
That's a good point. Good time to point out how fun it is to play with fake money and, sort of get a little bit of reps under your belt, doing this sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now you want to add the $16,000 to your cash ledger because the bank just gave you a loan for 16. You want to put it in your bank.
I still get nervous doing these things, though. I'm taking out $20,000 loan and fake money. Shit.
Couldn't you take out loans in Monopoly? I was
That
afraid of
depends on your
that.
house rules. Yeah, so he's added the 16K loan from bank.
Bank
Then what
loan.
does he do, Lisa?
Well, then you want to subtract the payment for the limited partnership. So to subtract $20,000. Pay the nice people their money. Pizza business.
Pizza.
Okay, then you want to put your income. So the real estate business, you're going to put pizza chain. Cash flow is $1,200.
Ah, the infamous pizza parlor. Many an easy street was made with a pizza parlor.
Hey, honey, why don't you go down the street and get yourself a slice? You've been a good boy this week. Pizza's a reward.
Okay, and then you want to put it on your assets and liabilities. So the cost is $20,000. The down payment is $20,000. You have zero mortgage, so you have no liability on it. Dude, I would buy something this second if it was $20,000 and it cash flowed $1,200.
For no mortgage?
Wouldn't it be no
Totally buy that.
mortgage?
That's unheard of.
Yeah, zero
mortgage.
Zero liability.
Unheard of.
Well, until the kid that's cooking the pizza at the pizza parlor makes your customer sick and then they sue you.
Oh, boy.
Maybe he burns it down and you get a new building.
Oh, mama.
That's a very mom-like thing to do.
Get slapped with a big, fat, wet lawsuit. Just bam, right in the face.
How do you write this one now?
Someone needs to the liability for the pizza parlor is zero.
Oh, whoops. Okay. And then the down payment was 20. Okay.
Yeah, so it cost you 20, you paid 20, and you have no liability on it.
Yep.
So now if you scroll back up, your passive income increased, your expenses increased, but your payday is still $2,000. It went down a little bit, but it's still $2,000.
Okay.
So you still have leverage And you could also, when you get more paydays, start paying down your bank loan if you want. Every time you pay down $1,000 of bank loan, you're going to get $100 freed up in cash flow.
Gotcha.
When do you pay down your bank loans?
Anytime you want.
Oh, okay. Anytime in your turn. Okay.
It doesn't have to be your turn. Like, you don't have to wait your turn to go do anything in life.
Oh, yeah.
You got
Okay.
the money.
Kind of like the people that were trying to sell gold in the chat. Like, it's not even their turn, and they're like, I'll buy it. I won't buy it. Don't wait for permission from authority. Lead yourself. All right, that brings us to Dylan and Delaney.
Oh, you do.
Dylan.
Are you gonna roll?
If you would like me to, however, it's your turn.
Yeah, I would prefer to roll. I like it to be because I could just pick something that I know is probably going to benefit me in the long run. I like it to be more realistic.
Very well. Go ahead.
I don't have a dice.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Somebody else that does will have to do it.
I got you.
There's the golden die cam.
The golden die cam. The gold die. God,
He's
thank
being
you.
clutch.
Here we go.
Clutch. We're talking
It is
gold here.
A 5. Okay, there we go. So that's done. And that will put you on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Downsized.
Oh my goodness, that's what you get.
Trusting me. Pay amount of total expenses to the bank and lose 2 turns.
Wow.
2 turns?
2 turns.
That's a lot of turns in this game.
That is a lot of turns in this game because there's a lot of learning going on right now.
99.
But I guess we're not going to win.
You're
we're
only
all
competing
winning.
against yourself.
Rat Race is the name of the game.
Now, here's the Mashugana. Pay amount of total expenses to the bank.
Wow.
Well, total expenses right now is $8,800.
No, he didn't.
You will need a bank loan for $8,000.
Wow.
Sorry, did I say $8,000? I meant $9,000 to be able to accommodate this. So we're going to increase your bank loans by $9,000, putting up to $14,000. Subtract.
Wow.
Oh, jeez. Oh, what was it before? 8,300? Let's see. Click, click.
I gotta ask, is Mashugana something also other than a metal band? What is that word? I only know it as a metal band.
It seems like it's just a phrase. That's what I know.
Or is it like a Yiddish word?
It's Yiddish. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
What is it really?
Hey, shouldn't you add in the 9,000 loan first?
I should. What have I done? You know, I'm going to do it out of order.
Oh.
Bad practices.
I know. I'm just
Person who is silly or crazy or a madman.
Defined casein.
It's a Mashugana.
What is casein?
It's a Mashugana. I'm telling you. That's
A
what I am.
madman.
In real life, how would have that occurred?
How would downsizing occur?
You
Like
get
what
fired
this-
from your job in a bad job market, and unfortunately, you have to take a job for significantly less. That downsizes your lifestyle.
But is what we saw there, is that a classic example of that?
Yep, and it's sort of an undefined downsizing, and I just, off the top of my head, created a real world sort of.
2008 is a great example of that. We went through a downsize. My dad thought he was getting a promotion. He didn't. He got laid off instead after convincing my mom to close down her business. So we went from 2 incomes to no income. So we downsized really quick. Let's sell the car. Let's da-da-da-da-da. So that can happen, and it takes a while to get back on your feet. It can
That's
take a while
how
to get
Kaysen ended up with 1 kidney.
Yeah, got rid of that one. Don't need that one over there. Kept this one over here. It's working real good.
You know, I hadn't thought about it, but this is cash flow, and I do know someone that's looking for a kidney. So if anybody wants one, to
All
give
right.
one.
Bids in the chat. Bids in the chat.
Can I offer someone else's kidney?
Oh my God.
With consent.
Yeah.
I believe it's
Don't ask, don't
Ethan
tell.
Barry's turn as a reminder. Ethan and Barry.
I rolled a 4.
Cool. That puts you on a deal square. Would you like a big deal or a little deal?
Little deal.
They're little. I thought they were small. What's the difference?
They are little.
They are little.
Little or small.
MLM buy-in. You have a chance to invest in a multi-level marketing opportunity. Companies looking to spread the reach of their newest venture. If you choose to buy in, pay $500. Every payday, roll a die. If you roll a 1 to 3, no returns this month, but keep trying. If you roll a 4 to 6, your sweet equity pays off. Collect $500.
I passed a payday as well, right? So I think that puts me at 440.
This is every payday?
Yes. Well, you didn't add your payday yet, did you?
No, not yet.
We'll put you at 820.
I think this is a pretty good deal.
No, it's definitely a good deal, and I want to get it. I thought my payday was 220.
It is. And you have 600 in the bank.
Okay, down in my cash ledger.
Yeah. So if you add 220 to your cash ledger, you'll have 820. Then you can subtract 500. Does that make sense?
Yes, I wasn't aware of the 600 balance down there.
Oh, yeah, you did pass a payday. My bad. I should have called that out.
So I added there, and now I'm just going to subtract 500.
And then you want to remember to roll another die every time.
Every payday.
Yeah.
Every payday. Yeah, correct.
Yes.
Jerry, did you think it was a good deal? I didn't hear your input on it. You probably weighed in already.
I trust my partner.
Okay.
I mean, it's every payday we have a 50% chance on the dice roll to collect an extra $500, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
This is usually where Grifty Poo swoops in like Mr. Potter from A Christmas Story, whatever that movie was called, and just to scheme people out of the MLMs.
I've really calmed down a lot, Delaney. I really have. I've changed my ways.
Oh, hi, can you tell?
Let's see. Nathan.
I'm rolling 2 die. Wait, hold on.
Yeah, what's up? Holding?
Oh, thanks. I just got my delivery of gold coins, actually.
Oh.
There you go. Some real Bitcoins there.
Damn.
Are
those real gold?
Cool. Now,
All
Nathan and Glenn, you are in the charity track, so you can reuse 1 or 2 die for the next 3 turns.
I'm rolling. I rolled a 1 and a 4.
Rolling.
Total of 5. Let's just call it that.
5.
Passed
That
a
puts you on
payday.
You passed a payday, and you land on a deal square. What would you like to do?
First, square up myself here. So what's my stuff here? $700. Sweet. Add. We'll do a big deal. No, we'll do a small deal. Call it that.
Coin collector liquidates. A coin collector needs cash quick to shore up on a tax issue. We'll sell you 5 gold coins well below going rate. Cost is $1,000.
Well, 5 for $1,000.
Dollar cost average.
Dollar cost average.
This is cheaper than we bought before.
Yeah, it's cheaper than before. So, man.
Maybe you could sell 2 of those coins to Lily and Harry.
Who'd be
Help them
interested?
dollar cost average their coins.
Dollar cost average their coins. Who's willing to do it? Oh, maybe I'll sell it at 300 again. I don't know.
Excuse me, do you mind if I get off for the night?
Oh, thank you for coming, Justin. Is there anything that you want to share with us before you leave?
Moments.
Nothing really.
You don't have any gold coins to share?
Thank you for being here, Justin. We appreciate you, man.
All right. But first, I have to use a deep voice again. Let's see. Have a good night, everyone.
Thank you.
Good night.
Stay classy, Justin.
I shall buy said gold coins.
You will buy. Are you doing any funkiness, or are you just buying them?
I do not want to go in debt for coin, though.
What is your offer to make that a reality, sir?
So I am willing to offer 2 coins.
You sell at 180, like, I sell you at 300. It was at the cost.
180.
I didn't jack it up.
Deal, man. I was hoping for 200. That's something that I'll do. I mean, you got more coins than I do. I only got 7 now.
So, Lily, are you saying he should sell at cost, or are you saying he should sell at less than cost? Like, should it
I
be
was
what
just
you did, or-
suggesting. Oh, the cost is 180.
You would buy them for
before you
180?
go ahead, Nathan,
Sorry?
what's our salary? Isn't it more than 700?
That's our cash flow.
I'm sorry. The cost is 200. Yeah, I'll get it at 200. I get 2? Or how many are you selling?
Yeah, 2.
Okay. I'll buy it.
Cool.
We got another 2. We got another 2 rounds of 2 rolls, Glenn. So
Yeah.
we can advance pretty quickly into getting more money.
Sounds good.
Cool. So, Nathan Glenn, subtract 600. Lily Harry, subtract 400. 3 coins and 2 coins at 200 each, respectively. Okay? And also, that brings us to Lily Harry. Did y'all have a die, or did I need to roll for y'all?
Oh, can you roll it?
I can roll. Okay. And here comes the golden roll. Survey says, let's get that back on the phone. Boop. Okay. Burp. It is a 3.
3.
Cool. So that will put you, Lily Harry, on a Doodad square.
Doodad.
3? Oh, no.
Doodad. Very sad.
Why is it sad?
I don't like spending money on things that don't make money. I really don't. It makes me sad.
But you can have a new air conditioner for $700.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. They're $100 short. If only someone had $100 in the bank and had good faith between you from doing business on gold coins to loan.
Can I borrow you $100?
Glenn, how do you say?
Could sell one of our coins.
I wasn't listening. What's going on?
They need some money here, and they're asking for our help. We've been in good charity and good faith this whole time, and maybe they can audit us for free next time. Instead of getting we'll take their 100 next time if they ever get. They're really good at this auditing business here. How do you say?
So how much they need?
They need only $100. That's all we got in our bank.
Okay.
I'm a good person.
Yeah, you let me borrow it?
I'm listening. I want to hear a yes from Glenn here.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay, there we go.
I'm not. Oh, there it is. Cash balance. Okay. How come I'm seeing salary of 2,000 all over?
I forgot I put that title there.
Yeah. So, and this here, I'll show this for everybody, just in case this hasn't clicked. So your salary is what you make at your job, and you have your total income of 2,000, and then you have expenses, things like taxes, the home mortgage payment, a car loan, credit card, other expenses, these kinds of things, including any bank loans you might have. So whenever you take your total income and you subtract your total expenses, that equals your cash flow, right? So there's two sides. If you want to have high cash flow, there's two sides of the balloon you can push. You can increase your income or you can decrease your expenses. Both are important.
So that the cash ledger doesn't balance until we've paid all our expenses off.
The cash ledger, to clarify, is only a tracking of a checkbook as far as you started with a certain amount of money, you subtracted some, you added some, you subtracted some, you add some.
So that's not a good place to look for how much money we got in the bank.
The cash ledger at the last transaction will show you the current balance, and I have that reflected in the very top left. So current cash balance is 0. So in your cash ledger, that would be the current balance of $0, which is on transaction line 6, or the end of transaction line 5. Both would be an accurate representation of how much money you have in the bank right now, which is $0. Okay?
Yep.
Cool. Hey, that brings us to...
one last
actually, that was Lily and Harry's turn. That brings us to Christian and Johnny.
Oh, wait, hold on. I tried to subtract 700, but the current cash balance is supposed...
Yes, that is an indexing thing. I can't index the number 0 because I have to do less than or equal to 0, or I have no equals logic in the Boolean. So
also, I'm gonna just square up Lily and Harry. You gotta add your 2 gold coins there.
Oh yeah, thank you.
Did you just audit them for free?
Free?
Wow. All right,
said he was
Christian
a nice
and Johnny.
guy.
I rolled a 6 for us.
They got two gold coins more than they had
1,
before.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That puts you go past a payday. Yeah, you go past a payday, and you land on a deal square. Would you like a big deal or a little deal?
Go ahead, Christian.
I'm thinking we get the small deal because we just passed the payday, right? So we have a plus 2,000.
You did. Yeah, you can do plus 2,000. So add 2,000 for payday, and then do you want a big deal or a small deal?
2,000 is like.
Yeah, add 2,000 because your income is 8,700 and your expenses are 6,700. You subtract 87 from 67, that equals 2,000 payday.
So
Nathan showing off his bitcoins.
Okay. Maybe a small deal for now. What do you think, Johnny?
Yeah, I'm good with a small deal.
Cool. Small deal it is.
You find a great deal. Company bought transferred manager's 2-bedroom, 1-bath house. There's no current. It has been on the market 6 months and has just been reduced. Take out a loan if you must, but buy this. Cost is $45,000. Down payment is $2,000 and cash flow is $250.
That sounds good.
Yeah, let's take it.
Yeah. That's 2 plus 250 for 2,000. Yeah.
Yeah, you just got your payday for that.
Yeah. It's exactly fits like a glove. So, is that a real estate or? Oh yeah,
yes.
it's a 2-1.
Yeah, it's a 2-bedroom, 2-1 house.
Call it a 2-1 around here.
Cash flow is $250.
That's 250. Wait, what do I write for the description of this?
2-1. Oh, that's fine. Yeah.
Let's put house, okay? And on assets, what do I put?
Okay, so the down payment was $2,000. The cost is $45,000. And the cost minus the down payment equals your mortgage, so $43,000.
Why is it not going in dollars? Oh. The mortgage is
Cost minus down payment, so $43,000. And
is that all good?
Yeah. And then you want to make sure that you subtract your down payment from your cash ledger because you got to pay the bank.
Yeah, by the big man. Okay.
Awesome.
Okay, that's all good, right?
Yeah. Good job.
Does Lily approve?
Johnny.
No, does Lily approve of auditing is my question.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lily. Now we may proceed. Okay, before we come back for, let's call it the last round of turns, is everybody getting value out of this? Is anybody noticing anything that they haven't thought about finances or about negotiations or about like how this might work in real life that they want to share?
I mean, yeah, I mean, usually I'm really conservative with my finances. So, and it's hard for me to find investment opportunities because I don't have a lot of capital for now. But yeah, maybe in the future, I'll be a little bit more risky with the loans and everything.
You don't have a
On
lot
the
of
bank.
capital. So like if you had a pile of savings, you might do it. But if you have to use someone else's money, you are cautious. Is that what you're saying?
Yep, exactly that.
Got it.
I mean, is that good or is that a good way of thinking about it or?
It's not good or bad. I would say that you have to operate in a way that makes you comfortable, because if we do something that messes with our mindset, it's going to affect the rest of our life. So we do have to find a thing that we are comfortable with and operate that way. We can adjust how we work, but we do need to be comfortable with it. I will say that having a big pot of money, it takes time to get a big pot of money, right? So if you're going to have a savings account, there's a lot of time it takes to accumulate that money. So what opportunities did you miss out on life while you are just squirreling away money? And at what point do you have enough that you're like, now I have enough to do something? And then once you use that money, that's precious money that you are putting into one thing that you don't have access to anymore. So you have to hope that you do your due diligence well enough and the deal works out the way that you anticipate and it gives you the return that you're looking for. Because now you've allocated all of those resources to something else.
Yep. Yeah. Sounds good.
So that's why leverage can be really good, because it could get you into a deal sooner that can cash flow and maybe cover its expenses. There's a lot of ways of looking at it. So each deal is a little bit different, but that's why we try to teach you, like, how can you think about things and how can you set up funds so that you have opportunity, and when you see opportunity, you can take advantage of it.
And I see that it's very important to have some connection, knowing people, so they're willing to go in on a deal with you if you don't have enough money.
Yeah,
so
related.
you don't miss out. You don't miss out on deals.
Yeah, that's definitely something I learned there. It's definitely good camaraderie as well, to learn how other people think and willingness to score up a deal, and if they want to help out or if they're willing to get cash in on a great deal, kind of thing. So.
I used to hear a guy who would off.
I mean, convincing them on getting on the deal, being, yeah.
Wait, convincing them what?
I mean, persuading them to take the deal in with you if you have some ideas.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have leverage, yeah.
If you're convincing them, it may not be the best thing.
So how would you say that though? I mean, convincing? What do you mean?
Convincing is like trying to force an outcome, right?
Oh.
Like they may not be on board with it, but you're trying to kind of force them into either believing in you or believing in the deal, even though they're uncomfortable with some aspect of it.
That is true. So how would you say going around it? Like, think of a person that already has something or wants to do something about it, or
I think it's just if you are around people that can also see opportunity, either they see it or you present them with opportunity, you can make an agreement and do a deal together. So you could present somebody with information
and
make them an offer.
Uh-huh.
And they can accept it or decline it or counter it.
Also make a case for why it's good, also that,
Yep. I think that's very helpful. Yeah.
We talk about underwriting a lot. So you'd need to do your own evaluation of the risk of the deal and the person you're presenting it to. And they would also want to do the same for you. They want to do their own evaluation of risk because their evaluation of the risk might be different than yours. Their idea of risk might be different than yours. Their resources might be different than yours.
That is true. Yeah. And I feel like moving forward, I could learn a lot more with this. I mean, I'm just starting out with my finances and everything.
So, Christian, whenever you were bringing up the idea, it spurred me to think of this little graphic of leverage. Can you see the screen?
Yes.
Cool. So, if you had a 5-pound weight in the middle of this teeter-totter, not a whole lot would happen, right? Whether it's your 5 pounds that you made, or whether it's 5 pounds that you borrowed from a friend. But if the goal was to get the teeter-totter to go down, you put it over on the edge, and you can make a lot more stuff happen, right?
Yep.
Does that concept of leverage make sense to you?
Yep. That makes sense.
Yeah, so in the same way, like being able to use somebody, let's say you don't have 5 pounds. If you have a friend who has a bunch of 5-pound weights, you could be like, hey, can I borrow that? I really need to lift this seesaw up, right, to get whatever the thing is that you need done.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense conceptually?
Yep, that makes sense.
Cool.
Makes a lot of sense.
What else has everybody in the Zoom call been seeing? I know there was some other people who wanted to speak up.
So I have a question. How feasible is it that a bank would give you a loan if you found a real estate deal and you didn't have enough for the down payment on the mortgage? Are there banks that would really give you a personal loan for the down payment on a mortgage?
So there are very traditional ways of working with banks. Generally, they'll require 20% of the assessed value of the property, and you have to prove certain things to ensure that you can make the payments. However, there are different special programs. There's first-time homebuyers. There's government programs for veterans. There's all kinds of programs that may require you to put less of a down payment down. And they can charge you something. They call it PMI. They can charge you this insurance if you put less than their required percentage down, but they're going to do their own underwriting and evaluate the risk they're taking on. So there are ways around that. Like you could have a private loan to get the down payment. You could bank yourself. You could be your own bank. But they are strategies that require you to have some foresight and start planning ahead. Like we talk about how do you be your own bank a lot. And it's a strategy that we use to create a foundational opportunity fund so that if we see something we want to take advantage of, we have the funds ourselves to bank ourselves to leverage into the deal.
Okay. Thank you, Lisa.
I had the same conversation today with Casey.
Yep. Anybody else have a question or something they're noticing while playing cash flow that they'd like to share to try to help other people get some more financial knowledge?
Consent also is helpful with other team members. It's also it's great to communicate that way. I've not really had that opportunity ever, except my mother, but that's just my mother.
And I say, if you're nice to people, people will be nice to you.
Yeah, it was super impressive how like your two teams had like cooperated, and then one of you needed $100 and the other team had exactly $100, and it's like, well, this makes sense. I might need that next time. I thought that was great. It's a beautiful demonstration of what's going on.
Is there like a favor section in this chart? Like, do we get like favor points? Like,
yeah, it's one of those things that's a little harder to calculate, but it's totally a form of capital, social capital.
And it's not guaranteed. So that's something that I'm learning, right? Like
that's totally,
Yeah, it's great to be generous and operate that way. Be who you're going to be, but don't expect it in return. Or don't expect it from everyone, because it's not necessarily going to happen.
Well, I'm the self-proclaimed nice guy, I guess. So
I'll mention this before we kind of finish our kind of last round of the evening. For anyone who has not already hopped on wealthbattle.com, if you're not on the email list, you can go to wealthbattle.com/free and drop your information in there if you want to be updated whenever things go on, as well as there's some fun presentations here that may shift your mindset around finance. If you've been around and enjoyed some of the things we've been up to, we do have people subscribing to Wealth Battle for as little as $20 a month. I guess I should fix that on the website. $20 a day. Cash flow, baby. $20 a month down here. And then also, we did just start a little experiment. If you want to give it a shot, maybe whenever it's not your turn during this last roll, it's just to kind of see what your current condition is inside your mindset around money. It's just a series of 10 questions. What would you do? Like, if you receive an unexpected bonus from work, what do you do? Do you spend it on immediate needs? Do you save it for a rainy day? Do you pay down debt? Or do you think about buying crypto? And if you go through this, you'll get a little diagnosis.
Is that recorded?
You'll get a little dossier at the end. It's recorded for you, yeah.
Would you be aware of it?
If you put in your email, then I would be, and if you don't, then I won't. Yeah. Because at the very end, you can, if I just rush through here, you can choose to put in your information, then it'll send it to you, or you can just hit skip. And it'll tell you
If I put the name, then you'll know exactly who it was from.
Yeah, I would know exactly who it was then, Mr. Biscotti.
I mean, there's nothing that we would find out. Like, there's nothing to know.
No, I'm asking. No, Lisa, you don't know. I'm asking all kinds of, like, where do you keep your? What's the last four?
Yeah,
of
you're
your
right.
social?
You're right.
Anyway, so back to the game. Let's get one more good round in here. So that brings us to Dylan and Delaney. I may have lost track as to who should be. You know what? You're not downsized anymore.
Not rolling.
You are not downsized
You're in.
anymore. You've suffered enough.
Let's let Dylan get the last roll in. I've played plenty of cash flow, and I think it's probably good for him.
I don't have a dice.
Okay, no problem. I can assist.
Gotcha.
And boop. And that is a 2.
Blinded by the light.
Yeah, it's very reflective. Gold
It's very shiny.
does that. It's super shiny. I can't make it less shiny. All right, that puts you on a payday. Shiny! You got a payday. There you go. If everybody lands on payday, we'll go another
Cason's
roll.
rapping.
What now?
Just rhymed. I was just commenting.
Oh, yeah. Ethan and Jerry.
I got you.
Yes, I am so ready to be got. I love getting got, and those in Landmark would laugh at this now.
Oh, cinco.
Cinco. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hey, cash
Yes.
payday. Payday, baby.
Yes, roll again. Roll that dice again.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. He's got to roll again to get that that MLM thing in, huh?
Yep. One more roll, Jerry.
That's the deal.
I rolled a 1.
Oh.
Good thing it's no payday, right?
Womp womp.
That's okay. You still got a payday, though, so that's cool.
Did Dylan roll?
Let's see. That puts us to Nathan and Glenn.
Rolling twice.
Yep, you're on the speedy
Jerry, shall
track.
I roll it? I'll roll it twice.
Yep.
Wait, how did they get on that outside track?
They bought charity
off.
earlier.
Got an 8 total. A 3 and a 5.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Passing a payday. 6, 7, 8. Deals.
Wow. I'll gladly take that 700 cash flow, please. I had a question, by the way.
Yes.
What's the deal about our, like, already established credit card debt, car loan, and stuff like that, home mortgage payments. Like, what is that deal?
Yeah,
'Cause
so
said
you
we
have
can't
a
edit the
series of
yellow-
liabilities: home mortgage, car loans, credit card debt. If you satisfied the debt in full, you could remove it from your expense sheet.
Oh, I didn't see that there. I didn't because it
Yep.
was yellow. I didn't think, or it wasn't yellow. I didn't think we could do that.
Yeah, so it's a fairly complex formula, but if you wipe it out and just put a 0 in there, it's gonna be all right.
Wow, it's
Yeah.
just okay. So
This is
it's-
what
it's
makes
also,
up the backbone of the sheet, by the way. A lot of if statements that are nested together.
Let me see this. Oh wow, holy smokes.
So,
Okay.
did you say small deal or big deal?
I'll go with the small deal again. Well, actually, it was Jerry's turn. So Jerry, sorry, not Jerry, Glenn. I made the choice last time. What do you think?
I'm looking at the expenses again.
I'll type in.
What do we have? We got a big deal here.
You can choose if you want to draw a big deal or a small deal. It's your choice.
Let's go for a big deal this time.
Big deal, 700 in the bank. Here we go.
There is a pizza franchise for sale. Oh, it's healthy pizza.
Healthy pizza. Oh my gosh.
Competition.
It's very trendy.
Big
High traffic location, college campus. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great.
Wow.
$500,000 down. Oh, the down payment's only $100,000, and the cash flow is $5,000. So you got this.
Yeah, that's huge.
That's a huge.
It's huge.
Have you got 100,000 bits of pieces of paper with a queen's head on it?
There is technically enough money on the board if everyone jumps on the deal to make this a reality. Technically.
And $100,000 loan just to do that. My goodness. Can I like fake do that? I want to just see what it looks like. Like if I fake put in
Yes. Yeah, you can fake put in whatever you want. It's your sheet.
It adds 10 grand to your monthly liabilities.
So it's like 10 grand to the liabilities, and then if I put in just my
Cash
cash
flow
flow
at
of
5,000,
it just still would be like a crap this year. But then I have like a really amazing thing. So it's like,
Yes,
man,
that'd be pretty rough.
that is rough.
Very rough.
Even if we split it 6 ways.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would. There's not a lot of
ways.
juice on that deal when it's all said and done.
My goodness. How do you say?
Not because of the
Glenn?
deal itself.
I kind of did the math already, but
Honestly, you lost me at healthy pizza.
Yeah, right.
Hey, I'm thinking here.
Yeah, bring back the unhealthy pizza. All right, Lily and Harry.
Well, I was Glenn. Glenn needs to say no, so I just.
Oh no, I agree with you.
Okay, good.
Can you reverse?
Oh, you need me to roll?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yep. I'm not sure who needs it or not. So here we go. We got a 6.
Wow.
Here we go. That's a decent roll, probably. 1, 2,
6 of the night, I
3,
believe.
4, 5, 6. Market card.
Finally.
What is that?
You'll see. So you passed a payday, so you're going to add your payday. Okay. Make sure you add that in, which I count your payday at 1,600 right now, Lily. Or Harry, whoever's actually running the sheet. I think Anonymous Buffalo was Lily. Here we got.
Coin collector wants gold coins. Wealthy collectors looking for gold coins. Cash offer of $500 for each coin. Everyone.
yes.
Everyone. May sell
I'm
this number.
selling. What?
What?
All right, I have 8 gold coins, so yes, I will sell the gold coins and get 500 each. So that is
That's 4,000.
4,000.
And Nathan and Glenn, are y'all going to sell your gold coins?
Be dollar cost averaged enough.
I don't know if you've dollar cost average enough. You'd walk away with $3,500. Is that a good deal?
Yeah, at the end of the game, let's see what we can get.
Like my gold coins. Can't sell half a coin though. If only we had another coin.
All right.
But I
Cool.
feel like yeah, you know,
While they're doing that math, Christian and Johnny.
we feel
Oh,
Donnie,
let
you
me
do
watch
dollars?
you do this.
we'll sell. Yeah, we'll sell them. You know,
Sorry,
Johnny,
what did
you
say,
there?
Christian? What did you say, Christian?
I mean, it's Johnny's turn to.
Sorry, I was muted.
Steer the ship.
So I rolled a 2.
Ooh, you just missed that downsize by 1 space. Nice. Put you on a deal square. What are you feeling? Big deal or little deal?
It's the end of the game. Let's do a big deal.
All right.
Actually, wait. We don't have that much. We don't have much cash.
Yeah, Glenn.
Yeah, I think I saw it.
Yeah, let's do a small deal instead, actually.
You go up here to where my the gold is, where the assets are, number 3. We have no more gold coins anymore.
Right, a condo is for sale. Older 2-1 condo offered by young
Oh, okay,
couple.
now I see it. Yeah.
Yeah. That's where the gold goes.
Okay, 2-1 condo for sale. Cost is $55,000. Down payment's $5,000. The cash flow is $160,000.
That is a little bit on the net worth side, I feel like.
Sorry, what'd you say?
I feel like that's not on the not worth it side. It's like 5,000 for 160 cash flow.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we'll have to pass on that one if you want to.
Yeah, let's pass on that one.
It's the last round.
I just heard a rooster.
I did too.
I did 3.
That's.
Where does it go?
I live in a house in a big lot, and we have lots of animals here.
Really?
Yep.
Can we all move in with you?
You can. We have rooms here. If you're fine with living in with no air conditioner and just fans.
Country.
It's like 20 degrees here, so I'm not thinking about air conditioning.
What state is that?
Are you asking?
It's a
Yes.
country.
I mean, Philippines. It's like Southeast Asian country.
Oh, the Philippines. Wow.
Yep. And I just bought. No. My mother just came from the province. She just bought in like 5 ducks. So we now have ducks.
Oh.
And yesterday, I took some eggs from our hens, and I tried to fry it. And there's already an embryo of like.
Oh, they were fertilized.
Yeah, they were fertilized eggs.
Oh no.
Yeah, it was freaky.
That was a surprise.
That's not what I wanted for breakfast.
Did it taste different?
Not at all.
No, it won't. It doesn't taste different, but I didn't eat it because I feel bad.
Gotta take a walk on the wild side every now and then. Columbus did. Now look at us.
So I want to run a question around the table because the goal here, or one of the goals here, is to try to arm everybody with financial education. So not just so we can play a game or have some fun, but take it into life and make our lives better, make our communities stronger, so we can have the resources to do the things, right? So I'm just going to kind of run down the list of people and see kind of what's one thing you learned. It can be short, it can be long, it can be something simple or complex. Just one thing you learned. Let's kick it off with Christian. What's one thing you learned?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like someone, Lisa mentioned underwriting, and I was not aware about that because I made some money from crypto, and I'm thinking I just cashed it out, and I'm thinking of making it, a small food stall around here, and then maybe it becomes successful. I'll make some kind of a small food truck. There's a version of a food truck here in my country. It's basically a food tricycle. So, you sell food in the tricycle, and I'm thinking of making that business while I'm still finishing my degree. And yeah, I think I need to investigate more about underwriting and stuff, and taking into the cost of starting up that business and investigating it and how it would add into my cash flow. Because before, I never thought that it would be added into my cash flow. I just thought, oh, I'm gonna do this and maybe I'll just make some profit. I didn't thought of it as, calculating it by as cash flow at the end of every month. So yeah.
Okay.
Cool. Thank you, Christian.
Yeah.
Johnny, what's one thing you picked up on tonight?
So this was a lot of information to take in. But there really are like deals everywhere. These aren't usually things that even cross my mind. So just trying to process all the, I don't know, real estate always seemed like something that
other people do.
Yeah, it seemed like something really kind of far off in the future, I guess, but it does seem like there's good deals to be found everywhere. So that was definitely helpful.
Thank you, Johnny. And I wouldn't just say it's only real estate, because I bet you there's an area of expertise that you have or can get that also has opportunities within it.
Yeah,
Everyone
definitely.
sees opportunities through their particular life,
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Thank you, Johnny. Very cool. How about Dylan? It's one thing you picked up tonight.
I don't know much about real estate. It's never been something I really had much interest in the past. And real estate has a big factor in this game.
Yeah. So what did you learn about, whether it be real estate or deal making or what have you, tonight?
I don't know if I can point to anything specifically.
That's okay. Can I come back to you if you think of something?
Yes, but I don't know if I can point because I know so little about that particular genre that I'm basically starting at scratch when it comes to that. I don't know if that's exactly something that I would be heavily invested into in the future, but
yeah,
it's definitely interesting to see something outside of what the world I come from.
Recognizing that you have a lot to learn is a powerful place to be, because there's only one way to go, and that's up from there.
Can I go? Because I'm really sleepy.
Absolutely. Go ahead, Lily.
So I was, the one takeaway is that I feel that you need to know a lot of people, have a lot of connection, like-minded people who are willing to invest in real estate property or whatever you're doing, or whatever businesses you're into. Because sometimes even if some like-minded people they're still kind of not risk taker. They don't want to take a lot of risk, and they want to do a different business or a different kind of real estate. But it's good to know a lot of people, just so you can filter out and connect with people and be able to partner up and buy bigger deals than the amount that you can afford. And that's all I have. I'm gonna sign out.
Good night. Thanks for coming.
Quite a night. Thank you.
Thanks for
you
coming,
guys.
Lily.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Awesome. I don't think we've heard from Nathan yet, and you're next on my screen.
Right, yeah. Yeah, I learned a lot. It's always great to have conversations of finance and potential cash flow opportunities. That's where I feel my biggest growth is is learning about the opportunities that are around me. It's not only real estate, and working with what we were just talking about. Well, there's a lot of things we were just talking about. What I'm specifically alluding to is non-invisible, like invisible assets, I guess, or just out of good faith. You know, if you do a good deed, you might or might not get, reimbursed back, or you might get reimbursed back more than you gave in. It's a type of gambling, I've realized, but it's definitely I'm in favor of that type of gambling because it does it deals with the emotional bank account, no more or less the actual bank account. And I feel like that's where a lot of people need to be. And sometimes that's my opinion.
Yeah. Also, if I may add, it's like it's more of an altruistic gambling because the money is not going anywhere. So that person you gave the money into or you made a deal with is still going to use that money to help themselves.
Yeah, I'm not even depositing into my bank account or my emotional bank account. I'm depositing into their emotional bank account. That's how I feel it. And then it's furthering that alongside of the deals and stuff like that. Yeah, it's something to like. I asked if I could do that little, $100,000 thing. I realized, wow, I can't actually do it, and nobody can. That would be really bad for a lot of people. That would be like late game stuff. If that big deal was possible, it'd be great. $5,000, cash flow extra, but we had extra other things to really deal with as well as no money. So
cool. Thank you, Nathan.
Glad to be here.
Actually, to make sure that I hit everybody, your buddy was Glenn. Glenn, what's one thing you picked up on tonight? Thank you for being here, Glenn. I have asked you to unmute, Glenn, as we cannot hear you. There's a little button you got to click. There you go.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Well, tech has always been my problem. So jumping back and forth between Google Sheets and Discord, I got confused there. But as far as the game goes, it was a lot of fun. Had fun. And I'll be back next week or whenever we have it again.
Awesome. What's one thing you learned? Glad you had fun.
I don't know what I don't know what cash flow is.
Ah. Okay. Do you know now?
Well, now it's clearer. I mean, it's basically what's left over after you subtract your expenses out of your income.
That's huge. That's a huge concept to get. Because people are always quoting, I need to make this much money a year. I need to make this much money a month. They're not saying how much money they need to keep.
No.
They could make 100 and lose 100, and then they're broke. That's a huge concept. Thank you, Glenn. Anything else you wanted to add?
No. Well, yes. The text you sent me today, was that referring to the game?
Yeah. Yeah, and also just checking up on you.
All right. It wasn't clear what it was. Thanks.
Yeah, no problem. Let's see here. We have not heard from Harry.
Oh, thank you. I think. Can you hear me? Okay. Can you hear me?
Sound great.
Okay. I think one thing I really learned was that you may think that you're unable to take advantage of a deal, but with a little creative, mojo and working with other people, that you might actually be able to find a way to take advantage of the deal. Also, I really love the spreadsheet. I hope you don't mind, but I downloaded that, and I think I'm gonna practice more with this and try to apply this to my personal finances.
That's great.
Cool.
That's super cool. And yeah, you can. And if you need help with the spreadsheet or whatever, if you want a fresh one, let me know. I'll send you the fresh copy. Glenn, I just checked the text messages. I literally sent you something in the mail. It should be there today. It's a little gift. Thank you for being a financial supporter of Wealth Battle. I really appreciate that.
Thank you. I the text wasn't clear if it was something in the mail or not, but I appreciate it.
That's the USPS tracking number if you want to pull it up on USPS and see where it's at. It should be there today.
There.
Okay, cool. So thank you, Glenn. Thank you, Harry. Who else have we not heard from? Let's see here.
I'll go because it's kind of past my bedtime.
Yeah, Ethan, what do you got?
Well, kind of like similar to what other people have spoken with, like the real estate seems like a foreign thing for me, but it's just really good to play this game and have these conversations and get this experience in. And it really gets my mind going and thinking of just in a totally different way about money. Like I just working with you guys and budgeting and stuff. I don't know. I never really like cared about money. I just, needed what I needed to get by and stuff. And just simple things like the rule of passive income greater than your total expenses, like just thinking in those terms with my money and what my next move is first. And that's kind of what I'm taking away and pay yourself first, that concept. So yeah, that's what I got out of this the most. I'm learning a lot, but it's refreshing to walk away from this computer and the game in my real life, and not that this isn't real life, but just and have these concepts in mind. So thank you for that.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Jerry, we have not heard what your moment of aha, eureka, excitement is this evening. Thank you for being here, Jerry. What's one thing for you?
I actually have a quick question. So when I look at the spreadsheet, it says we have $800 in savings. Is that like, we have like actually $800?
Yeah, so the savings inside here, I'll share my screen just to show everybody what he's referring to. You should be able to see now. So the savings under any given profession is actually rolled into your starting balance. It's literally your cash flow plus your savings equals your starting balance. So you chose profession number 3. Profession number 3 is a secretary, which has a savings of $800 and a monthly cash flow at the beginning of $800. So you should start with $1,600 is the rules of the game. Rather than go over all of that at the start, we just kind of baked it in. So you plug in a number 1 through 12 and it will update all of the things accordingly. Does that help, Jerry?
Yes, it does.
Cool. Did you have anything that you wanted to share that you saw today?
Yeah, I learned what the definition of mortgage was.
Okay. What is the definition of mortgage as you understand it right now?
It's basically an interest that the bank will charge me if I take a loan. That's what I understood from it.
Okay.
If you want to get into the etymology of the word, you're going to be surprised what you find.
Got to pay Morton Gage, baby.
Doesn't it mean like death grip?
Yeah, so it Latin or French,
Like
and then which means death, and then gauge is generally like how you measure a thing. So it's like the measure of man at his death. Mortgage, and some people call it death pledge.
So, Jerry, just to put maybe a little bit of a different spin on it for you here, and this is for anybody who's curious, and feel free to jump in if I'm missing any details here. A mortgage, let's pretend for a moment there's a house for sale, however big it is, and this is the seller. The seller wants $100,000 in order to sell their house to you. Now, you, represented in the green, you don't have $100,000, you have $20,000, and you say, hey, I'd like to buy your house, but all I have is $20,000. The seller runs away screaming because they don't know you from Adam, and they're worried that they won't get the rest of their $80,000. enter the bank.
The bank.
Now the bank always has big archway columns here. Now the bank, what they do is they ask a bunch of really pry questions into your life. They say, how much money do you make? How often do you get paid? Where were you last summer? Why do you only have one kidney? Like, they ask all of those questions. And if you answer them in a way that they feel gracious enough to lend you someone else's money and charge them for the privilege of doing so, what they'll do is they'll cut a check for $100,000 or ACH. You know, there's different ways to do this. They'll send that money over to the seller. So the seller is happy. They've been paid. The key goes to you. The deed, the property, the title work goes to the bank. They own the property. And what you do is, in order to show good faith, you send them what we call a down payment or a chunk of the purchase price. And you promise on what is a mortgage, an instrument, a loan, you promise, I will pay, $1,000. Most people would say for 80 months, because that works out to be the remaining $80,000, but that's not what they do. They say it's $1,000 for, say, 150 months or something to that effect, and you end up spending a lot more money. Actually, be 180 probably would be closer to reality at a 15-year. So, does that make sense as to what a mortgage is, Jerry?
100%.
Okay, tell them about amortization.
You know what? Okay, so this is a huge thing. This rocked my world whenever I first really started to grasp it. Let me just hop into my little drive here. Amortization. So, one sec while I pull it up on another screen, because I don't know if this is one that's active.
This was a total holy shit moment for me. I had no idea about this when we first went over this, like last summer.
Yeah, so you want to describe it in concept while I pull up an actual amortization calculator, Delaney?
Yeah, sure. So amortization, I think, is sort of like the concept of, like, say, take $100 loan out, or $1,000 loan out across 10 years, and you're paying the principal off. But the first few payments pay more interest than they pay principal. And then you get over this amortization hump, and then on the other end, you start paying more to the principal than to the interest. Is that about right, Kason? With graphics, it becomes more real.
Yeah. So let's imagine, let's pretend like that $100,000, you didn't put anything down as $100,000 you're agreeing to pay back over 30 years. And you qualified at 3.5%. If you got good credit, it could happen. It compounds 12 times a year. That boils down to a monthly payment of $449.04. Okay, cool. So you're going to send a check to the bank or ACH or whatever. You're going to send money to a mortgage company, the servicer of your mortgage, to be more precise, for $449.04 every month until that loan is paid off. Now, the interest is computed in such a way where the first payment, oh no, where is it? It's not even here. So the first payment is like almost completely interest. Let me see if I can just go mortgage amortization calculator with table. So cool, bank rate. I think I've used this one before. We'll do that same 100K, 30 years at 3.5%. Calculate. Hey, look, it's the same amount. Let's see. Show amortization schedule. Brace yourselves, people. This is the part that's pretty wild. The first payment, you send $449. Your balance won't drop from $100,000 to $99,500 and change. Your balance is only going to drop by $157. That's the principal portion of it. $291 is interest. That's the part that they're charging you for the privilege of using money. Okay, it's the cost of the money, so to speak. Now, it kind of like slowly goes up until like those last couple payments, you're actually making more principal payment on it than interest. Like the very last payment, it's $447 worth of principal and $1 of interest charge. Okay? Now, whenever you go and you calculate that out, this is why banks really want people to be moving about every 5 years or so. Because if you do a 30-year mortgage, you're just paying interest. Not really, but you're paying a lot of interest Okay, so if we look at total interest charges, let's see, Jerry, since you're kind of on the mortgage train, if I said, hey, I'll loan you $100,000 for 30 years at 3.5% interest, how much interest do you think you'll pay by the end of that loan? Just a wild guess.
135,000.
Okay, so you'd pay 135,000 in total, or 100,000 of principal and 35,000 of interest. Sorry, that was incorrect, the way that I said that. Are you paying 135 for interest or 135 for interest and principal together?
Interest and principal together.
Okay, so probably $35,000 worth of interest is your kind of guess?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Great. So if we skip down and we just add up all these interest payments, and we go all the way down to the very last payment, you'll end up spending $61,000 of interest.
Jesus.
Right? Now, here's the thing. It sounds like a really bad deal, right? It's like, wow, I'm spending almost 60% of the purchase price on the ability to have it 30 years sooner. But we got to figure.
But that's not all.
That's not all. There's two things. There's two things we really got to pay attention to here, okay? One is, what is the value of getting things done faster, right? Because how long would it take you to save up that $100,000 if you're not using other people's money? That's one question, right? Kind of like Christian was earlier, where it's like, I don't want to borrow money to start something that could make money. I want to save it up myself. I want to do the work myself and go 5 years, 10 years, 20 years slower. Okay, so that's one thing to pay attention to. The other thing is, the value of the US dollar, for example, constant and never changing, or does it fluctuate? Does anybody know?
It fluctuates.
Yeah, Christian, does it generally get more valuable over time, or does it generally get less valuable over time?
It generally, I mean, the strategy for governments commonly is like, it generally devalues because of inflation.
Right. Right. So if we just went back in time and we went back, we'll just do 2020 to 1990 for a 30-year mortgage. If we got a 30-year mortgage, and instead of, we could pay $100,000 on like day one. Let's assume for a moment we're a bajillionaire, and it's not a big deal. We can just throw $100,000 on. We could send $1,000 to them in 1990, or we could be thinking about it in a slightly different way and say, hey, I'm going to get a mortgage. I don't even need it, but I'm going to get it because I'm going to lock the bank, and I'm going to hold the bank to letting me pay them with less valuable dollars every single month and every single year until I pay this thing off. What does that look like? Well, hey, that same item should theoretically cost $198,000. Wowie, wow. The time value of money. Ooh.
But is the 3.5% interest rate back in 1990 is realistic?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that, Christian?
Is the 3.5% of interest rate back in 1990 realistic? Because I don't have any ideas on how mortgages work, even in my country, because I haven't bought any property.
Yeah, that's fine. Let's just go take a look. They fluctuate every single month. And also there are other rates that go in around that. So in 1990, it looks like the average rate was cruising around 10%. Then it went 9%, 8%, 7%, 8%. So like, we're at stupid cheap rates right now. Whenever you can cruise around, let's see, 2021, 2.96%. Now that's like the basis from Freddie Mac. That's not whatever like the mortgage servicer might charge on top of that. And then it's also creditworthiness and down payment and blah, blah, blah. Like, really, you need to talk to a loan officer to find out, like, what would your rate be?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, these are historically low rates. But in 1990, that was the best deal you could make. And you could always, well, not always, you can probably refinance if you've got some great history, Wells Fargo notwithstanding.
Well, it also depends. If you are way over leveraged, you're at a high rate, you buy a property well overvalued, then the property values drop. You can't always refinance, because then you're going to have to put a big chunk down. And if your property's not worth that anymore, you end up in a lot of trouble.
Okay, can I ask one question?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, in a short, not really complicated, not complicated answer. What is refinancing? Because I have no idea.
What is financing?
Refinancing your loan. Because I always hear it getting thrown around, but I don't really know what it means.
Yeah, totally fair question. You remember how you got a mortgage on the house in the little drawing that I had where he gave the bank some money and the bank gave the seller some money, that sort of thing?
Yep.
Refinancing is coming to the bank and saying, hey, the property is worth more, or I own more of this house. I would like to take out a different mortgage on this property. It would be to finance the property again, refinance.
So they would change the interest rate?
It could change the interest rate. It could change the number of months remaining on the payment. It could change the total amount of money you're borrowing from the bank. It's basically like, I'm going to borrow, we'll just go, here's a house. Boop, boop. This house is worth $200K, for example. I go to bank number 1 in green and say, hey, I want to borrow $200K. Let's pretend like I already have the down payment already factored into this. I want to borrow $200K. They say, sure, we'll do it. We'll give you $200K, but we'll do it for 4% interest for 15 years. But then something happens, and all of a sudden interest rates are 3%. I might go to another bank and say, hey, other bank, I would like to borrow $205,000 to pay the, let's just call it the financing fees up here, at 3%. But also I talked with Lisa and went, hey, this whole idea of the dollar being worth less is pretty sweet. Maybe I should lock the bank in to beat up on them for a long time because I'm not planning on selling. So I'll lock them in on a 30-year loan. So the bank cuts the other bank a check for $200,000, and then I owe them $5K in lending fees, for example, closing fees. Does that make sense conceptually, Christian?
Yep.
So this would be a refinance. This would be getting financing in green. And both are for the same mortgage, the same lending instrument on the same property.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
So when you get a mortgage for a number of years, so let's say 30 years, your payment is fixed. So if your mortgage is $1,000 in year 1, it's $1,000 in year 30.
Yep.
So in that case, inflation's working to your advantage because in 30 years, $1,000 is going to seem like no money at all.
Yep.
If you believe that the dollar is going to go down in value.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's never the case.
So during that time, though, you actually have a piece of real estate. And a lot of times that real estate will fluctuate in perceived value. So if you bought it for $200,000 and you happen to live in San Francisco, one year they might say it's worth $1.2 million, same house. So you might say, well, hey, I'm going to refinance for $1.2 million because I only owe the bank, let's say $200,000. So I can pull out $1 million. If I refinance the house at $1.2 million and I only owe the other bank $200,000, they'll write me a check for $1 million. And I have 30 years to pay off that loan. So it's a way of getting a giant chunk of money when this house that I bought for $200,000 for a period of time is magically worth $1.2 million. Because at some point in the future, the value will go back down, and maybe it'll be worth 400, and maybe it'll be worth 600. And so when the value of a house is up, it's a really good time to pull out this magical money from the bank and leverage it into something while money has value that will cash flow.
Yep.
Or bring you value of some kind regularly.
That is big knowledge. I think I can apply that.
So it needs to be achievable too, right? Like you need to be able to get the loan and you also need to be able to support the payments. So if your house is worth 1.2 million and that's like just too big of a payment for you, maybe you take out a $600,000 loan and you take $400,000 of cash, right? You find the balance that makes sense in life. Like there's a practical piece to it. But in today's environment, when loans are super cheap, it's like free money. It's like 3%. It's a super low percentage considering like a 30-year fixed loan.
You can't get a business loan at those rates. Like business loans are going to be 18, 25, sometimes even higher depending on what your business plan is. And that's assuming they even approve you.
Yep.
Yeah. Does that help, Christian?
Yeah, it helps a lot. Yeah.
Jerry,
for example, for the past 2 years, I've been looking into building a water refilling station here. But the thing is, I'm really, really afraid to going to the bank and taking a business loan. So I think this one gave me more courage to actually do it.
Yeah, that helped out. Thank you.
Cool. Great. And I think we haven't heard from Mark yet, who has been patiently observing the joys of cash flow this evening. Thanks for joining us, Mark, and hanging out. Did you pick up anything this evening that you wanted to share?
No, thank you guys, man. Just the last bit of the conversation during the game, I never played cash flow. I always wanted to play, but just getting a good look at it is motivating. And just to get in that mind frame of investing, budgeting, and it's sort of just working those muscles now that I not in that position. So when you get in those positions, your mind is already working. So that's good. But then this last little conversation just brought up some, just like, wow, man, I haven't, had any or listened to any of the discussions like this, about mortgaging, amortization and stuff like that. So yeah, that's just cool, man. It gets those little squirrels working in my head, So that's what I took away from that. And then just being around a bunch of people and, people asking questions, people's experience is always, beneficial for me because, I glean off that information and it's amazing.
Cool.
And excuse me, I was sick as a dog last week.
Oh, no.
No, I know. You were looking like you were hurting, but it was still,
Yeah.
Whatever you got to do to feel better, man. Is there a beeping coming from you, by the way?
Say again?
Every minute or so? Is there a beeping, like a chirp? Is there a beep?
No, I don't know. I don't hear it. I guess it's some hypersonics. I don't know.
Perhaps you need to replace the battery in a smoke detector.
I don't hear that. It's funny because I know you brought that up, but I don't hear that. I don't know. Maybe my hearing's going bad. I don't. Maybe it's too high pitch or something.
It's inside your computer, and like it only comes through the microphone. Like maybe a bad ball bearing or something on like the fan. That could
be inside Gacy's head.
Maybe that's I think the compressor in my refrigerator is too loud.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys for this night, man.
Oops, I didn't mean to hit that. Sorry, Lisa.
Whoa.
Just turned off your camera. I was trying to get it to focus. There we go. Lisa, is there anything that you wanted to share with everybody before we complete the eve?
Yeah. So I feel like a lot of investments, it's easy to be emotional about them. It's like, especially if it's a piece of property. For some reason, we get attached to either a geography or the look of something or the clout we think it will bring or what it looks, what it looks like on your rap sheet. And so what I like about the game is that they're just cards and it's like, here's a thing, it costs this much money and this is the cash flow. And though they use it in terms of real estate, it doesn't have to be real estate. You could cut and paste something else in there. It can be anything that could bring you cash in any kind of business. And so I think it's really easy and a good way of looking at how do I make this work in life and in anything that I'm interested in.
Yep. Just to add to that, even in crypto, you get attached to these stupid coins.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God, should I sell? No, it's already something up 20%, Yeah, that's why dollar cost average, I guess.
That's one way to look at it. So, Christian, have you heard of the Pyramid of Wealth battle?
I don't know that. What about it?
No problem. I'm going to wrap this.
Jason, are you familiar with the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise?
It's not a tale that a Jedi would tell me.
I'm sorry, but that question, that's the first thing that came to my mind was.
But by the way, what's that, by the way? Pyramid
Star Wars, we're dorks. You don't want anything to do with this.
Dorks.
No. The Pyramid of Wealth battle.
Yeah, I will be happy to stay on the call. I just want to make sure everybody. Is there anything anybody else wants to say before everyone is dismissed, and then I'll go over the Pyramid of Wealth battle for anybody.
Class
who wants to hang
dismissed.
I'm trying to, you know. Anybody else want to share anything before we?
How many people like buy like a property like straight up like with cold solid cash?
Cash buyers. I don't know what the number of cash buyers to non-cash buyers are. That'd be.
I think a lot of foreign buyers are cash buyers because of how the system works, and they're trying to put money into real estate somewhere. But otherwise, it's not a very smart thing to do a lot of times because you're taking all of your capital or a big chunk of capital and putting it in one spot. Whereas like borrowing money right now is so cheap that you're better off leveraging that chunk of money into many times that chunk of money than taking just that and putting it into something.
What if somebody had their own home built? Like, how would that be financed? Would it be in the same way that mortgaging a pre-built home would be?
There are different things. So it would depend upon the situation, but a lot of times you get like a construction loan. So you'd have to, get the property and then you get a construction loan. And then you could refinance the whole property as a whole once it's built and it has a value.
Could that be done with anything? Like, does it have to be a house?
It depends. It depends. If you want to get a residential loan, it has to meet the criteria of what a residence would be in that area. So like usually it has to have running water, a bathroom, like there's certain criteria.
So there's different loans for different things and it has
Yeah.
to be, for houses it's specifically that. That's a good question. That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah. Mortgages are one of the financial products that exist that have typically a lower interest rate by a large margin compared to most other financial instruments. Typically.
Broad question. Are mortgages supposed to help everybody? Like, I don't really know if that's that could be both ways, it seems. Like, why are they there to
What
help
do you
people?
mean?
Like, is there an answer?
Is there what?
Like, what
are they supposed to help?
Yeah, like the idea is seemingly like sometimes mortgages are like to swindle people because it's like they're really bad loans or something like that, or sometimes really good. They're good for people. Like in this instance, like they're really just some people don't really know what the heck they're doing, so you can really get someone on a bad loan, and. We seemingly have the resources to know what we're doing, and we can smartly play the mortgage thing. So some people might not get good deals. Is what I'm saying.
I think the mortgage should be looked at as an inherently evil or inherently positive instrument. You know what I mean? There are situations where people get taken advantage of, and it's on the due diligence of the person who's taken out a loan. But then. There is wacky shit that goes on with governments and the Federal Reserve, you know what I mean? And, things like 2008 was rough. And then what's that Blackstone group, whatever it is that are, buying up all the houses or whatever.
Right.
Is it Blackstone or is it, what's the other?
BlackRock.
Yeah. You hear a lot about it and there's definitely some shit going on, but there's also some like, exaggerations about it,
Okay.
So it's just kind of like a situational thing, and what's good for one person is bad for another person. I think Lisa, in case we're trying to say that earlier, it's situational.
Mm-hmm.
Fundamentally, it's an agreement and it's a financial transaction. Now, I mean, there's many trillions of dollars in the U.S. real estate market, like tens of trillions, right? Probably like 16, somewhere in there. And if you can scrape a little bit off of the top of that, you're doing all right for yourself. But if people want to buy it, I'm not going to say that if you want to buy a house and you don't want to pay cash and somebody wants to loan you money, whatever you agree to is ethical as far as I understand it.
True.
It may be dumb, but it's not against the non-aggression principle. So that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's not inherently good or bad. It's leverage. And where people got into trouble is when they over leveraged themselves. They couldn't manage the payments, or they got into trying to get the loan to be the lowest payment that they could. so they could afford it. And generally that means a riskier loan. Like there can be an arm. So maybe for 5 years, your interest rate is locked in, but after 5 years, it becomes a variable interest rate, which means it's no longer fixed. So maybe the interest rates are 3% right now, but maybe it goes back to the 80s and it's like 20%. Well, now what do you do? And if your property value has dropped, like it becomes really challenging to refinance and get out of that loan. So there are types of loans that are not the same across a duration of time. And that's where you can end up getting into some trouble. And generally people that don't really have, the background to support a loan get into those because it's the way to minimize the monthly payment up front.
Gotcha. It's pretty crucial, that kind of information then.
I did that to get my first property because I didn't have a lot of money, but I wanted a property. And so it was not bad. It was a 7-year ARM. So for 7 years, my interest rate was fixed. So I just knew within those 7 years, I had to refi in order to lock in an interest rate. And by that point, I was making more money for myself. And so it became easier and more manageable.
Thank you.
And I found this slide for you, Christian.
Mm-hmm.
This is the pyramid of wealthbattle.com. It's kind of a conceptual idea of what is the ratio or proportion of risk that someone might take. Like, what are the steps to build a cash flow? And like step 1 is to have some kind of savings or opportunity fund. That's like step 1. And then step 2 would be building something where you have control over what's going on, something you can dial up or dial down how much effort it takes and how much revenue it generates. Step 3 might be something like an indirect flow where you can't control the direct outcome, but you might have some sway over the end result by being able to communicate with somebody who's operating a deal for you. And then step 4, if you must, you could do something like speculation. This presentation can be sent to you if you want. It would be at wealthbattle.com/free. Drop in your email, and then it will be sent to you over a couple days. There's 8 presentations that go over the 7 steps to escape the rat race. That is step number 4, the A in IBORSI, which is ascending cash flows.
About the pyramid, what constitutes what does it mean by savings and opportunities?
Sure. So we can go pull up the opportunity fund presentation and show you some of those. Let me go grab a suitable slide. Okay. So an opportunity fund would be something that is designated for the storage and protection of capital, in this case dollars, what we might be talking in, to leverage into a deal to create time leveraged income. You could say passive income, but I think passive is a little bit misleading because it's not like you just like kick back and go smoking your cigars. It's just super time leveraged. There's still risk and that sort of thing associated with most things. So we like to think of it like a vehicle, something that's going to help you get from point A to point B in a safe manner. Hopefully faster, definitely safer. Okay. So Lisa has gone and she has built a bulletproof vehicle in the US. I don't know if this would help in your country of origin right now, using whole life insurance. Now, there's a couple different things that go into that. Let's see if I can get to the GPU slide. Here we go. So GPU, graphics processing unit in a computer. This is a different way of using GPU. A good opportunity fund would A, grow your funds at some rate of return, whatever that rate of return may be. More is typically better. It would protect your funds, so it can't be taken in a judgment, so it couldn't be lost due to a market crash or market correction, as some people might call them. And it allows you to use your funds. So it needs to be somewhat liquid, so you can tap into it whenever you spy a deal on the horizon. Does that make sense, Christian?
Yes. Makes sense.
Cool. Awesome. So a potential solution inside of the U.S. Is to be your own bank using whole life insurance. It looks something like this. You have a premium, you put into a life insurance policy, and whenever you sign on the dotted line and you say, here's $1,000, if I die, send $1 million to my beneficiary. Well, the insurance company says, ooh, we really don't want to have to pay out that full $1 million. What could we do? They say, this is what I would like to do. I would like to be able to offer loans collateralizing that death benefit that accrues a rate of interest. Did you see that change between your paying in premiums to you're taking out a loan? Does that make sense?
I don't understand it.
That's okay. There's a lot to it, and it's a full-on 30-minute presentation, so I don't want to repeat everything here. If you want to check it out, go to wealthbattle.com/free, drop in your email, and it will come to you. Port Wealth up right, and then for $20 a month, see, fixed it. That will get you access to over 50 hours of lectures and mindsets, kind of changing discussions. Right there, you can pick $20 a month, and if you don't love it, just shoot me an email and can refund that $20.
Sure.
But, all right, y'all. It's late. Let's boogie on out of here.
Thank
you, Thanks, guys.
Thank
really
you.
Great.
This has been really wonderful. Thank you, Jason.
I'm really glad you came.
Glad everybody came. Y'all have a good night. Take care.
Bye.
Or a good day.
Bye,
everybody.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
Bye now.